Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. Obtain the Deidara explosion-style bloodline and six-path sage body at start. Chapter 41. Kisame raised Samahata to cut Naruto, but was blocked by Naruto with a peculiar cyan long sword. Boom. This cyan long sword does not look like a physical entity. It is composed of a large number of small wind blades, but it is condensed by him with wind style. It is a real wind sword. And the future Sasuke uses lightning-style Chidori to condense into Chidori sharp gun. But in the next second, the wind sword disappeared. It turned out that Samahata had absorbed the chakra above. A look of surprise appeared on Naruto's face, and a bit of panic at the right time. HMPH, kid, your strength is not simple, you can use wind style to condense a sword, but my Samahata can swallow chakras yo. Kisame said with a triumphant expression. Samahata is his pride, and he likes the shocked expression when chakra is swallowed by the enemy. Impossible, Naruto shouted stubbornly, and then condensed a wind sword and swung it towards Kisame. Kisame disdainfully used Samahata to cut towards the wind sword again. He seemed to be able to see Naruto's shocked expression again. Swish! Just when the wind sword was about to approach Samahata, it suddenly burst open, and a large number of wind blades rushed towards the faces of Kisame and Itachi who were close in front of them. If this is hit, Kisami's shark face must be plasticized. It is a pity that both Kisame and Itachi are cage-level strengths. Facing such a sudden attack, they immediately reacted, hiding behind and on both sides. However, Naruto could control the direction of these wind blades. Even if they evaded in time, several wind blades still scratched their faces and splashed a few blood. Naruto gained power and did not forgive, with both palms in the shape of a knife, and a cross was cut forward. In the next second, thousands of small wind blades appeared out of thin air and continued to attack them. Kisame blocked Samahata in front of him, and all chakra in the wind blade was swallowed. Itachi spit out a ball of fire, squeezed into the house from the door frame, and rushed towards Naruto. The speed was so fast that Naruto had no chance to react. Boom! Naruto's figure was swallowed by the fireball, but turned into a cloud of white smoke. It turned out that this was just Shadow Clone. And what about Naruto's body? He had been hiding in other rooms a long time ago. At this moment, standing at the end of the corridor, looking at the figures of Kisame and Itachi not far away, he took a sharp breath and spit out again. Rumble! A large group of wind blades formed a cylindrical shape, just filling the entire corridor, and rushed toward the two of them, making a violent explosion. Kisame and Itachi turned their heads to look, and there was a hint of surprise on their faces. Perhaps they were surprised by Naruto's tactics, or perhaps by the power of Naruto's wind style. Fire style dragon fire technique. A fire dragon spit out from Itachi's mouth, smashing a large number of wind blades away. In the Hokage world, fire style restrains wind style to a certain extent. Of course, wind style can also increase the firepower of fire style, depending on how it is used. In this situation, fire style and wind style collide, and the two disappear at the same time. But Naruto has body of the wind god and has a huge amount of chakra in his body, so his wind style is continuous. After seeing that one of his fire dragons disappeared, and wind style attacked from behind, he opened 3 Tomo Sharingan, stared at Naruto not far away, and cast his illusion. Boom! Naruto, who was performing wind style, once again turned into a cloud of white smoke and disappeared. This is another Shadow Clone. What a cunning kid! Kisame raised his brow and said in surprise. At this moment, Sasuke suddenly appeared from the entrance of the corridor, and he finally found it. Long time no see, Sasuke. Itachi looked calm, and Furui looked at Sasuke silently. Uchiha, Itachi. Sasuke looked at Itachi with a grim face, and whispered, "I'm going to kill you." After that, he suddenly opened Ergo Jade Sharingan, and the left-hand Chidori screamed. "According to what you said, I hate you, and then I live to this day to kill you." "What?" Sasuke roared loudly, and rushed towards Itachi with sparks and lightning all the way. With the flashing lightning-style Chidori, it is also quite majestic. Boom! Sasuke's left hand was easily clasped by Itachi, and then the Chidori hit the nearby wall. One trick to uniform. Sasuke was subdued with just one move. Sasuke's eyes were filled with disbelief. Itachi's eyes were still as calm as water, but there was a sense of loftiness, as if looking at an insignificant ant. Not far away, Naruto appeared again. Seeing this scene, silently covering his forehead, said in his heart, "Sasuke, you can have a snack. Do you think you will be invincible after learning 1,000 birds? Didn't you see your master Kakashi all lying on the bed?" Just as Naruto was about to launch another attack, Jiraiya, who had been hiding nearby for a long time, finally appeared. Dang 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 dang. Jiraiya's appearance is always so funny. Man, Jiraiya, won't be tempted by beauty. For men like me, beauty is always sent to the door. The scene was embarrassing. Everyone looked at Jiraiya dumbfounded. Naruto covered his forehead again. Jiraiya, can you be more serious? After decades, haven't you thought about why you haven't chased Tsunade? When Jiraiya heard this, his face was blushing, but he immediately got to the point. You are here to take away Naruto. I won't let you succeed. It just so happens that I will solve you together here. Don't interfere, Sasuke said suddenly, looking at Itachi with hatred. I can only kill this guy. After Sasuke finished speaking, he raised his right fist and was about to hit Itachi. Boom, but it was kicked on the stomach by Itachi, and flew directly to the other side of the corridor. Holding his stomach, his painful face turned white. Naruto grinned as he watched. Itachi is so cruel to start with this dog. But Sasuke still stood up stubbornly. You are not allowed to interfere. I live for this day, I want to kill this man. After all, Sasuke launched a suicide attack on Itachi for the third time. What? Snapped. Sasuke was slapped and flew back again. Itachi walked up to Sasuke and looked down at him condescendingly. So, Sasuke took the opportunity to get on again. Boom. Snapped. Sasuke was beaten again, and the blood was vomiting out. He finally began to doubt life. I feel that I have really lived as a dog in the past few years. After working hard for so long, I still don't even have the power to fight back. At this moment, the seeds of defecting in his heart began to take root. Itachi dragged Sasuke's neck to death, and pressed him against the wall. Why are you still so weak? It's because the hatred for me is not enough. After all, I sent Tsukuyomi to Sasuke again. Seeing this, Naruto barked his teeth, and felt angry at the second pillar in his heart. At that time, Shower Zuzi saw that the tribe was annihilated, and Sharingan did not move. Itachi couldn't help but cast a Tsukuyomi on him, so the second pillar, who was stimulated by the powerful spirit, opened angrily. Ye go use Sharingan. It is estimated that Itachi and Urzuzi were in the same mood at the time, so my mentality was really broken. Annihilation. Your parents were killed by your brothers. Why would you give me a jade? Who should the diaphragm be? Well, you are my brother, I will bear it. Now, seeing that Sasuke, who grew up, had turned on Sharingan, Itachi felt a little relieved. So I was going to add another fire to him, and he did not hesitate to open his blinding eyes and waste precious pupil power. Then he came to Sasuke again to show him the tragic death of his parents in the night of the genocide. Unfortunately, the second pillar is the second pillar, and it wasted a piece of Itachi's mind. Sharingan did not move. Ninfa toad mouth restraint technique. In the distance, Jiraiya patted the ground with both hands, and saw that the entire corridor had become flesh and blood, as if they were in a large fleshy intestine. Sasuke, who was pressed to the wall by Itachi, was quickly swallowed by flesh and blood, and Kisame and Itachi's feet were also sinking into flesh and blood. This scene looked a little scary, and it also made Itachi and Kisame a little frightened. This is the intestines of Mount Myoboku Big Toad, you are already in its intestines. Jiraiya smiled and said to Itachi and Kisame. Anyway, you are all wanted criminals, so let's become the food for the Iwajuku toad. Naruto watched this scene with his eyes shining. The toads of Mount Myoboku have many auxiliary functions and are very useful. Next, he must learn from Jiraiya. Sure enough, it was correct to choose Jiraiya as a teacher according to the original plot. Seeing this, Itachi said to Kisame hurriedly, come with me. Kisame obediently carried Samahata and ran forward with Itachi, which was the other end of the corridor. It's useless, no one can escape from this place so far. Jiraiya looked at the figures of the two and said confidently, and at the same time began to urge the surrounding intestines to shrink suddenly, and turned into pillars of flesh to attack the two, wanting to bury them here. But Jiraiya didn't understand the power of Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Itachi directly burned a big hole in one end of his intestines with Amaterasu and took Kisame away. After being beaten, Jiraiya's complexion was a little unsightly, and she could only seal the remaining Amaterasu fire in anguish. Naruto looked at the fires of Amaterasu, his eyes Mangekyo couldn't help but want to open automatically. There was a momentary impulse in his heart, wanting to compete with Uchiha Itachi for the power of Mangekyo. But this desire was forcibly suppressed by him. Uchiha Itachi's strength lies not only in Mangekyo, but also in other geniuses. He almost achieved the ultimate in physical skills, illusion skills, escape skills, and ninja throwing. Now Naruto still has some way to go from the opponent. Wait a while before he can kill Uchiha Itachi like a dog. At that time, whether it is Mangekyo of Itachi itself, Mangekyo of Uchiha Fugaku that he may be hiding, and a distinguished heavenly god's Mangekyo of Uchiha Shisui, they will all be Naruto's trophies. After Jiraiya sealed the fire of Amaterasu and restored the corridor to its original shape, he was kicked flying by the Might Guy, who suddenly appeared but recognized the wrong person. Might Guy, it really deserves to be Konoha's beast. After this battle, Urzuzi not only suffered severe physical and spiritual damage, but his beliefs were about to collapse, and his whole person began to doubt life. So, when Orochimaru hooked him, he defected without hesitation. For revenge, for strength, he could sell his soul and body to the devil. Next, Might Guy took Sasuke back to Konoha village for treatment. He happened to lie on the bed with his good master Kakashi, and recovered after Tsukuyomi's recuperation. Be a pair of, difficult to teach, difficult to disciple. While Naruto continued to carry the weight on his back, and Jiraiya embarked on the path of searching for Tsunade while practicing. Along the way, Naruto maintained a silent practice physical ability. Seeing that he was afraid of Naruto's psychological burden, Jiraiya asked, "Naruto, aren't you curious, why did those two arrest you?" Naruto stopped, rolled his eyes, and quickly thought of a response in his mind. "I want to become stronger quickly. Next time I wait for them to catch me again, I will directly defeat them and just ask in person." Jiraiya raised his brows when he heard this. He didn't expect Naruto to think so, and he couldn't help but appreciate it. "Naruto, next, I will teach you a very powerful ninjutsu." As Jiraiya said, stretched out his right hand, and soon a pale blue chakra ball spinning at high speed was condensed in his palm. "Rasengan, I finally waited for you," Naruto murmured inwardly as his eyes lit up. "Climbing a tree is for you to concentrate and maintain chakra in a specific place. Treading on the water is for you to learn to maintain a certain amount of chakra. And this ninjutsu requires you to learn to create the flow of chakra, which is rotation. Concentrate chakra in the palm of your hand, maintain a certain amount, and then rotate and flow chakra, that's it." After Jiraiya said, Naruto stretched out his right hand and started experimenting, but unfortunately he couldn't cultivate for a long time. He looked at the system personal panel. His super chakra control is only entry level, which can ensure that he will quickly master climbing trees and treading water. But this level is not enough when used to quickly practice Rasengan. He really wants to use system points to increase the proficiency of super chakra control or directly increase the proficiency of Rasengan, but his points have been exhausted. Now I can only practice on my own honestly. Fortunately, he knew the secret of cultivating Rasengan. Soon, Naruto and Jiraiya came to a small town. Jiraiya bought a few water polo, ball and balloon. The rotation direction of chakra in each person is different. Some people turn to the left and some people turn to the right. Generally, ninjas can perceive it by themselves. However, there is another way to know, that is to look at the shuiner on the top of the head. If the shuiner on the top of the head turns to the right, then the chakra in the body will also turn to the right. Vice versa. When Naruto knew about this for the first time, he felt a bit nonsense. Anyway, the direction of chakra's rotation in Naruto's body is to the right. He can perceive it by himself, but he still let Shadow Clone look at the spin on top of his head. After being accurate, this made him feel relieved. The practice of Rasengan is related to the direction of chakra rotation in his body. He has to control the flow direction of chakra in his palm and rotate to the right in order to better master Rasengan. The first stage of training Rasengan is to place the water polo in the palm of the hand and use the rotation of chakra to break the water polo. Naruto placed the water polo on the palm of his left hand and controlled chakra to flow and spin in the water polo, and then his right hand urged chakra to constantly scratch the water polo. 5 minutes later, boom, the water polo breaks open. Seeing this, Jiraiya was taken aback, and praised, "It seems that your chakra control is not that weak." Then, he put a ball in Naruto's hand and said, "Next, we will start the second stage of training, and increase the power based on the rotation. Therefore, the second stage is to break the ball. The key is the word, power." Naruto smiled and separated 50 shadow clones, each holding the ball in their right hand, condensing chakra, and letting chakra spin inside the ball. The left hand is like a cat rolling a ball with 2 paws, increasing chakra spinning power. The main body and 50 shadow clone practice at the same time, and the shadow clone dissipates once an hour, passing back some experience to the main body. In this way, his cultivation speed is equivalent to 51 times that of ordinary people. Relying on the shadow clone plugin, Naruto successfully completed the training in just one morning. Jiraiya, who had just gone to collect information and returned for lunch, was surprised to see this. He began to realize that perhaps he had really accepted an incredible disciple. As expected of Son of Prophecy, the third stage of training Rasengan is maintenance. Jiraiya held a normal balloon in his right hand and cast Rasengan with his left hand, but the right hand balloon was undamaged, not even fluctuating. The third stage is to show 100% what you have learned before, and then maintain it. That is to increase the rotation and power of chakra, and then further create a layer of film inside the balloon. Imagine compressing chakra inside, forming a small typhoon. I see. Naruto nodded, using the method just now, holding the balloon in his right hand and scratching it with his left hand. Boom, the ball broke. Sure enough, Naruto sighed. Rasengan is an A-level ninjutsu, which not only shows that its power is amazing, but it is also extremely difficult to practice. He has learned the second stage in a few hours now, and it is already a very remarkable existence. This is the reason why he is familiar with the plot and opened up. There is no way, in order to quickly learn this ninjutsu, he can only continue to open and hang. With Naruto's thoughts, 51 shadow clones came out, 2 by 2. One person condenses chakra with his right hand and rotates at a high speed, while the other shadow clone uses both hands to scratch to maintain Rasengan's stability. When Jiraiya returned in the afternoon, his expression could not be described as shock. Because Naruto has completed the third stage of training and has succeeded as a master Rasengan. While Naruto was practicing Rasengan, Orochimaru had found Tsunade, and then used, resurrected, Tsunade lover Kato-dan and his brother Nawaki to bewitch Tsunade and heal his hands. "If I cure your hands, what will you do next?" Naturally continue to destroy Konoha. Naruto and Jiraiya found the big Tsunade in an izakaya called an izakaya. Next to the big Tsunade are her little companions, Ms. Shizune, and a little pink pig. The 4 people and 1 pig sat down, all dull and silent. The big Tsunade was drinking glass after glass. Jiraiya looked at her with a heavy face and a little nostalgia. Naruto looked at the beautiful face of Tsunade and the huge. Looking at Jiraiya again, I couldn't help but think of his combination with Sakura Sasuke. In the original plot, he and these 2 guys are called New Sanin. If you compare them, Sasuke is like Orochimaru, little Sakura is like big Tsunade, and he is like Jiraiya. Then fate is really interesting. Jiraiya never chased Tsunade until his death. He, according to the original plot, is the same, but he is luckier than Jiraiya because he still has Hinata who has been loving him silently. And Jiraiya is really miserable. Thinking of this, a trace of sympathy flashed in Naruto's eyes looking at Jiraiya next to him. Unexpectedly, I could meet old friends here today. Big Tsunade drank another glass of wine and his face started to flush. Jiraiya filled the big Tsunade again, and said in a bleak tone, "Have you seen Orochimaru?" Tsunade and Shizune next to them were shocked. "Can you be more specific?" Jiraiya asked again. "It's nothing, it's just that I ran into him by chance and greeted him." Tsunade shrugged, drank a glass of wine, then took out a deck of cards from his arms, motioned Jiraiya to play a game with her, and then asked, "What are you looking for me?" Jiraiya took the cards, shuffled them, put them on the table and replied, "Then I will tell you the truth, the village wants you to go back to be the 5th Hokage." As soon as these words came out, Big Tsunade and Shizune, as well as the pig next to her, all showed surprise on their faces. And Naruto seemed to have heard nothing, still enjoying the food on the table. Since the death of 3rd Hokage, Naruto's heart gradually began to let go. First of all, he doesn't bother to act anymore. If Jiraiya asks anything, he is ready to make up a lie to deal with it, whether he believes it or not. Tsunade's face returned to calm, and he continued to play cards with Jiraiya. "Hey, 3rd Hokage," Jiraiya said with a sad expression on his face and sighed. Tsunade's face was also dark when he heard this, and he couldn't help but think of the previous scenes. Orochimaru did it, right? I've heard him say it myself. What about your decision, Tsunade? Jiraiya asked again. Tsunade closed his eyes in pain, and he couldn't even hold the cards in his hand. He remembered the reward Orochimaru had promised to give her. Revive his beloved man and his brother. Stop, Naoki, Tsunade murmured, then threw the cards onto the table, looking at Jiraiya resolutely. "I refuse. I won't be a Hokage." Haha, Lai was not angry, but a smile appeared on his face. "Your tone of rejection is the same as when you rejected my confession before." The atmosphere on the table suddenly eased, and somehow became relaxed. Puff, Naruto, who was lowering his head to eat next to him, didn't hold back for a while after hearing these words, and almost squirted out the rice in his mouth. "Who is he?" Tsunade asked Jiraiya as if he noticed Naruto. "His name is Uzumaki Naruto." Jiraiya answered briefly with a name. There was a sudden realization on Tsunade's face, and he knew in his heart that Naruto was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. "Oh, this kid is different from your previous disciple. He looks plain, and there is nothing surprising about it," Tsunade said with a smile. Haha, Jiraiya smiled and said, "He has amazing talents in some aspects, but compared with 4th Hokage, it is indeed worse. After all, 4th Hokage's comprehensive qualities and talents are the first in history." "Well, and 4th Hokage is as handsome as me," Jiraiya added shamelessly at last. "Haha, it seems that 4th Hokage is not a handsome guy." Naruto sneered unceremoniously. "Ha ha ha." Big Tsunade laughed. Jiraiya glared at Naruto angrily. "But so what? 4th Hokage has not gambled his life for the village." Tsunade turned around and said mockingly on his face, "Life is not the same as money. If you make a wrong bet, you will lose your life. An idiot would do such a thing." Following the words of Tsunade, the atmosphere became serious again. When Naruto heard these words, the corners of his mouth rose involuntarily, and he admired Tsunade in his heart. Yes, idiots would do such a thing. And only idiots would let their children do Jinchuriki, and then abandon their own children. Even if it is my grandpa and 2nd Hokage, although they most hope to quell the war, don't they also die for nothing before their dreams are fulfilled? Tsunade continued mockingly. "Tsunade, you have changed. I didn't expect you to say that." Jiraiya's face changed slightly. "HMPH, I'm in my 50s, time will change everything, won't it? Sarutobi teacher is the same. He is so desperate when he grows old, of course he will die." Tsunade continued disdainfully, "Hokage is rubbish, only idiots want to do it." Naruto continued to lower his head to eat, and nodded vaguely. Both Tsunade and Jiraiya looked at him differently. What Tsunade said does not actually represent her true inner thoughts. Judging from the original plot, Tsunade actually loves Konoha very much. It's just that she wants to resurrect her lover and younger brother so much, so she decided to heal her hands for Orochimaru. At this time, she said this to give herself a firm belief and to drive Jiraiya away. But she can say so, but Naruto can't think so. Boom. Big Tsunade slapped his palm on the table, stood up, and questioned Naruto with cold eyes. "Boy, there's no place for you to speak here, get out of here." Jiraiya next to him also frowned at Naruto. He didn't expect that his new disciple actually hated Konoha and Hokage. And judging by his identity as Jinchuriki, this is not a good sign. "So, you still love Konoha in your heart, don't you?" Naruto raised his head, looking at Tsunade playfully, and couldn't help saying. Big Tsunade was said to have gotten into his inner thoughts, the coldness on his face faded, but an expression of anger and anger appeared. Naturally, seeing this on the side, he was overjoyed, and at the same time he was relieved. One is for Naruto, and the other is for Tsunade. Little devil, you successfully angered me, today I have to teach you a lesson. Tsunade looked at Naruto and continued. Hey, as a veteran Sannin, you came to bully me a genin, are you shy? Naruto snorted while looking at the big Tsunade, then changed the conversation and said. Why not, let's make a bet, as long as I can hold 3 rounds under your hand, even if I win, how about it? Unless you recognize my strength and don't want to make this bet with me. Haha, someone is going to bet with me. I have never been afraid of Tsunade before betting on Bo. Tsunade looked at Naruto disdainfully with his hands on his hips. Seeing this, Jiraiya beside him couldn't help but raise his mouth. He thought of Rasengan that Naruto had just learned, and he would be surprised by Tsunade by then. Now, let's talk about what the good bet is. Naruto looked at Tsunade with bright eyes. His goal was medical ninjutsu and kaiju. Just as Naruto was about to speak out, Jiraiya next to him suddenly interjected, if Naruto wins, you will come back to Konoha village with us. Yes, Tsunade agreed without hesitation. She didn't believe that Naruto, a kid, could hold on for 3 rounds under her. After she wins the bet, she can let Jiraiya get out of her life, strengthen her conviction, heal Orochimaru, and resurrect Kato-dan and Nawaki. As for whether the cured Orochimaru will destroy Konoha again, it really has nothing to do with her. You guys. Naruto turned to look at Jiraiya when he heard the words. Seeing that Jiraiya was looking at Tsunade with a serious face, he could only sigh helplessly. Naruto and Tsunade stood opposite each other on the street outside the izakaya. Boy, it's too late for you to regret now. Tsunade held up a pair of basketballs with his hands on his hips, and looked at Naruto disdainfully. Mrs. Tsunade, you seem to have overlooked one thing. Bet, you have never won. Naruto looked at the opponent with a grin, his muscles tensed, and he was always ready to avoid the opponent's attack. Boom. Tsunade heard the words, mother-in-law, and Naruto's mockery of her title of Gambling King, and veins appeared on her forehead. She immediately stepped forward without hesitation, fell from the sky, and kicked the opponent. Jiraiya silently praised Naruto's name for Tsunade, wiped his sweat, and began to observe Naruto, who was about to be violently beaten for a second. In the face of Tsunade's aggressive attack, Naruto subconsciously wanted to turn on Sharingan, but was worried about being noticed by Tsunade and Jiraiya. The value of Jiraiya has not been completely squeezed out. Tsunade still has medical ninjutsu and strange powers waiting for him to learn, so he doesn't want to split with them prematurely. At this moment, Naruto's body flashed and disappeared. So fast speed. Jiraiya and Tsunade stared at the same time and looked at Naruto, who appeared 3 meters away. Naruto tugged at the corner of his mouth triumphantly. This is because he used the Yufeng technique to bless his body after obtaining function body, increasing his speed. Combined with his original magical powers, Lingbo Weebu, he created a new method of instantaneous body, which he called the Wind Instantaneous Technique. He doesn't know how fast it was called, Shattering Shisui, back then, but he consciously feels that his current speed is comparable to 4th Raikage. Raikage relies on the power of thunder and lightning, and he relies on the combination of the power of wind and unique magical powers. Boom! It's another kick. Tsunade's speed this time was twice as fast as before, and her expression began to become serious. A slight voice sounded. This time, Tsunade and Jiraiya finally saw Naruto's posture clearly. His body drifted away from the place like a gust of wind and appeared several meters away at the same time. It was as if Naruto had been standing a few meters away, never in the original place. Now there are 2 big pits on the ground, and both of Tsunade's attacks have failed. Its face was a little unnatural, and he didn't expect this kid to have such a powerful body. The third trick. The big Tsunade gave a soft drink, and launched a more fierce attack again, kicking on the ground under his feet, and suddenly stepped on a big pit. She used all her strength, and the speed was even faster. But Naruto still relied on his new body style, and when Tsunade's fist hit his face, his body disappeared. Naruto's tender face was hurt by the strong wind brought by the great Tsunade, but Naruto still didn't hit him. 3 tricks have passed. The big Tsunade really lost the bet. Ha! Big Tsunade couldn't help but stared at Naruto, snorted, turned and left. Hey, Big Tsunade, I'm willing to accept the bet, and come back to Konoha village with me tomorrow. Jiraiya shouted behind him. Influenced by Naruto, he also added a big word before Tsunade's name. Then, he was turned around by a big Tsunade who was so angry that he could not spread it. Mother-in-law Tsunade, should you bet with me again? This time, bet whether I can knock you down in 3 strokes. If I lose, the bet just now will be void, and you don't have to return to Konoha immediately. Naruto suddenly shouted at the Tsunade who was about to leave. After hearing this, Tsunade stopped and asked, what do you want from me? Medical ninjutsu. Your best medical ninjutsu, Naruto replied. After 3 seconds, Tsunade turned around. She is not a person who doesn't keep her promises, especially if she loses a bet with a kid and breaks the contract. She really can't afford to lose this person. If the bet can be cancelled by other methods, she is naturally willing. After all, she misses Katoden and Nawaki so much, and she doesn't think Naruto can knock her down. Even Naruto has a strong body speed. But Tsunade never imagined that Naruto is a storyline, knowing her biggest weakness. Well, I'm going to go, Naruto said excitedly, then bit his right finger and made a long blood mark on his left arm. He didn't seem to notice the change in Tsunade's expression, as if he was casting his summoning technique wholeheartedly with his head down. Summoning. Boom. A toad that was twice the size of this adult appeared at his feet. Naruto didn't even know what the toad was called, and didn't care. He still lowered his head, pretending to be excited, and said to the toad at his feet, "You use ninjutsu on that woman to cover my attack." The unknown toad has a good temper, nodded, and opened his mouth as a jet of water shoots at the big Tsunade. Naruto raised his head and saw that Tsunade was shaking with his arms and the basketball on his chest. She really committed her phobia. Then he was held by the Shizune next to the water column that escaped the toad. Naruto pretended not to understand the abnormality of Tsunade, and came to her in front of her in a flash, and slammed her 2 big basketballs with both hands at her. Boom. Naruto doesn't have great power, but under the extreme speed of the body, the power will become much larger. Therefore, Shizune, who was hugging the big Tsunade, was caught off guard, and before he had time to react, he fell to the ground with Tsunade. The first trick, the big Tsunade was knocked down. Naruto won again. Hey, it's really big. Good. Naruto laughed in his heart. At this moment, a masked woman with red hair suddenly appeared in front of Tsunade, and the Kusanagi sword in her hand stabbed at Tsunade. Shizune reacted in time and hugged Tsunade to avoid him, but Kusanoru's sword still pierced into Tsunade's right shoulder. Pouch. With blood splattering, Tsunade's whole body trembled even more. His face became paler. Boom. Jiraiya, who was just hit by the big Tsunade, rushed back in time and kicked the red-haired masked woman. The masked woman dodged her figure and disappeared in the next moment. Seeing this, Naruto smiled happily in his heart. In the hostel, Naruto looked at the big Tsunade who was still trembling, looked at Jiraiya next to him suspiciously and asked, "Mr. Jiraiya, what happened to Tsunade's mother-in-law?" Oh, Jiraiya sighed, thought for a moment, and brought Naruto to the door and whispered, "Tsunade's former lover and brother." After listening to Jiraiya's introduction, Naruto showed a sudden look on his face, and at the same time clenched his fist and said, "But she is about to become Konoha's Hokage, how can she still be so afraid of blood? I must help her." After speaking, Naruto didn't wait for Jiraiya's persuasion, entered the house and stood in front of Tsunade, staring at her and said, "Mother Tsunade, I don't think you should be the 5th Hokage. Konoha village doesn't need your cowardly Hokage." What? When Tsunade heard the words, he barely raised his head to look at Naruto, but his eyes were still blank, and Shizune next to him was a little angry at Naruto's statement. "I think that every generation of Hokage has the pain of losing loved ones, but they still survived strong and dedicated their lives to Konoha." Naruto looked at Tsunade impassionedly and said, "I haven't had parents since I was a child, and I've been bullied and insulted by many people, but I'm not as weak as you. My dream is to become Hokage and be recognized by the whole village. Become a powerful ninja, so that people and friends who recognize themselves will no longer be harmed." Tsunade heard what Naruto said, his eyes gradually condensed. He knew the real-life experience of Naruto in front of him. Hearing his life over the past few years, he felt a sense of sympathy in his heart. When I saw Naruto impassionedly saying that his dream is to be Hokage, I couldn't help but think of Kato-dan and Naoki. They have the same dream. Off, Naoki, Tsunade murmured. At this moment, the shadows and looks of the three seemed to slowly merge before her eyes. When Jiraiya on the side heard what Naruto said, he couldn't help thinking of his proudest disciple, fourth Hokage. Thinking about the fact that I had never cared about Naruto in the past 12 years, I sighed and couldn't help feeling guilty for fourth Hokage. Minato, I'm sorry. At this moment, his eyes on Naruto became softer. Naruto paused and continued. Mother-in-law Tsunade, I heard that Suan and Naoki also had the dream of becoming Hokage back then, even though they are dead. As soon as Naruto said this, Tsunade raised his head abruptly, and there was a chill in his eyes when he looked at him. Naruto continued to stare at Tsunade indifferently, and said with piercing eyes, although they are dead, their dreams will always exist in everyone's hearts. When Naruto said this, Tsunade's expression stagnated, the chill in his eyes began to dissipate, and he became silent again. I can guess that the guy Orochimaru is looking for you to heal his hands, right? The reward may be related to Suan and Naoki, right? Naruto directly clicked Hado. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at him in surprise. Tsunade and Shizune did not expect Naruto to guess the truth, but Jiraiya realized that this possibility was almost 100%. His mood became anxious. If Orochimaru really used this to seduce Tsunade, then Tsunade would probably agree. Naruto wants to use his great power to mouth escape Tsunade. After all, he must complete the task of improving Tsunade fear because the rewards are too generous. Sage body of the Senju clan, it is very likely that he will synthesize a complete sage body with his existing sage body of the Uzumaki clan. If you upgrade both of them to god-level bloodlines, I really don't know what will happen. Not to mention that he doesn't have system points now. Even if he does, he doesn't know how many ninjas have to be killed before he can redeem the sage body of the Senju family with points. Therefore, he must help Tsunade overcome his fear of blood and complete the task. After stabbing Tsunade with a sword, a large amount of his own blood can stimulate her more deeply, so that Naruto's mouth can play a greater role. When Orochimaru killed third Hokage, he used a kind of ninjutsu summoning to produce first Hokage and second Hokage. Naruto continued to break the news, stimulating Tsunade. Sure enough, Tsunade heard the news of his grandfather and looked at Naruto in shock again. Jiraiya next to him nodded, confirming Naruto's reliability. A few months ago, because I was bewitched by others, I stole the Book of Seals, and saw a forbidden technique in it, named Impure World Reincarnation. This is an evil spell that can summoning the soul of the dead. The dead who are summoning out are completely controlled by the caster, like a puppet. Upon hearing Naruto's words, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune all looked at him in shock. No, it should be said that they were shocked again. Steal the Book of Seal. Impure World Reincarnation. Mrs. Tsunade, if Suan and Naoki's undead are asked after summoning comes out and ask you, how is their beloved Konoha now? How do you answer? Naruto took out his assassin, and his mouth also reached a climax. Oh, you can tell them both like this. Orochimaru killed third Hokage, but got his hands badly wounded, but it's okay. I have healed Orochimaru's hands. He is going to continue destroying Konoha. Rest in peace. Keep in hell. Have your Hokage dream here. To shut up. Sure enough, when Naruto took out this assassin, Tsunade, who was still limp on the tatami, was furious, and suddenly stood up and hit Naruto with a punch. She was stabbed in the painful spot, and was insulted by the two beloved again. At this time, she couldn't care about anything. Panacemia was born because of the death of Naoki, and was dispersed because of the humiliation of Naoki. Boom. Naruto gritted his teeth and didn't avoid it. He directly wounded his chest and sprayed a bit of blood on Tsunade's face. But, this time, Tsunade, who saw blood and was even sprayed with blood, no longer trembled and cowardly. Because she has been shocked enough. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for completing the task. Find Tsunade and improve her phobia. Reward. Sage body of the Senju clan. Naruto's female avatar had just stabbed Tsunade with a sword, which stimulated her, and now Naruto made her no longer fear blood. Sage body of the Senju clan has a huge amount of chakra, super chakra control, ninjutsu talent, earth perception and other skills. Yes, Naruto shouted excitedly in his heart. He finally completed the task, and it is worthwhile to hide his false mouth for so long. Seeing this, Shizune and Jiraiya next to him also showed incredible expressions on their faces. Unexpectedly, Tsunade's phobia was cured in this way. Sure enough, the heart disease has to be treated with care. This night, everyone slept very securely. The next morning, Tsunade followed him and Jiraiya on the way back to Konoha village. But along the way, Tsunade kept his face cold, ignoring anyone, and occasionally snorted when he saw Naruto. Naruto didn't care about it, he kept thinking about the sage body of the Senju clan he just got. In terms of combat, this is a stronger physique than Uzumaki sage body. Otherwise, how could Senju and Uchiha have been fighting for thousands of years? The huge amount of chakra contained in it is the icing on the cake for Naruto, who now has a large amount of chakra. Earth perception is the same, not as good as Naruto's existing Karagura Minyan, but the perception method is somewhat unique, and second Hokage takes this skill to the ultimate. Naruto values the two skills of super chakra control and ninjutsu talent. They directly improve the combat effectiveness of the Senju clan. Only the level 1 sage body of the Senju clan changed Naruto's master's super chakra control from beginner to Shaochung and reached the proficient level. No wonder Tsunade possesses pervert's medical ninjutsu and strange power, because both of them require super chakra control. And ninjutsu talent also raised his master's beginner level of escape to proficient. Senju Tobirama used this talent to play water style. Sure enough, the Uchiha ninja who can hold Sharingan just needs some real materials. So, what about my Rasengan? It also requires super chakra control. Naruto thought of this, stretched out his right hand, and a blue chakra ball gradually formed. Rasengan, he really doesn't need to use Shadow Clone to use it anymore. I knew that, I didn't bother to practice Rasengan so much the other day. Naruto thought dumbfoundingly. Seeing this, Jiraiya on the side raised her brows and showed an incredible look on her face. He has overestimated Naruto's talent enough, but he didn't expect. Can Naruto really surpass his father Minato? He is the son of prophecy. Jiraiya looked at the blue Rasengan in Naruto's hands next to him, and continued to think in his heart. Naruto, I want to teach you everything, so that you have enough power to change the world of shinobi. Tsunade, who was walking in the front, turned his head, narrowed his eyes when he saw Rasengan, and blurted out, "Ha, I didn't expect you to be a Mystera-level ninjutsu." Haha, Tsunade, you must have never imagined how long it took Naruto to practice this ninjutsu. Jiraiya said triumphantly after hearing what Tsunade said. Looking at you like that, it probably took a short time, 3 years. Tsunade glanced at Jiraiya and said. Not 3 years, but 3 days. Jiraiya said with a grin. Big Tsunade is shocked again. An hour later, Naruto raised his brows, looked back subconsciously, the corners of his mouth raised, and began to ponder in his heart. 10 minutes later, a two-headed python appeared in front of the crowd with a bang. Orochimaru stood on the head of the giant python with his hands lowered, looking down at the four Naruto with evil expressions, and said hoarsely. Tsunade, the day we agreed hasn't arrived yet, are you leaving? Tsunade and Jiraiya couldn't help but narrow their eyes when they saw their former partner. Orochimaru, I won't treat you. Tsunade said with a cold snort. She was in a bad mood. It seems that you are ready to go back to Konoha as the 5th Hokage. Orochimaru looked at Tsunade. A pair of snake eyes revealed the cold light of human consumption, and his body exuded a palpable murderous aura. Orochimaru, you killed the teacher, I haven't asked you to settle the account yet. Jiraiya took a step forward and looked at Orochimaru unceremoniously. HMPH, it seems that I can only use some tough methods. Orochimaru said coldly, and chakra burst out in his body. Hold on, Master Orochimaru. Kabuto, the actor next to him, suddenly stopped Orochimaru and said eagerly. On the opposite side are the other two of Sannin. What's your situation now? Orochimaru said coldly at the Eyeshadow Emperor Kabuto, have you forgotten Tsunade's weakness? When the actor Kabuto heard it, He held the glasses with his hand, his eyes flashed, and he could only nod his head. Well, I will try to hold Tsunade and her female apprentice as much as possible. As for Naruto, nothing to worry about. In the information obtained by the actor Kabuto, Naruto's strength is only Chunin's level, but he is an elite Jonin comparable to Kakashi. Go! The two-headed python at Orochimaru's feet rushed towards the Naruto 4. Naruto disappeared in a flash when he saw this figure. Jiraiya stepped back quickly, while quickly forming a seal with both hands, Earth-style Wonkwanshu. A swamp immediately appeared under the two-headed giant python, quickly letting the giant python sink into it, and disappeared. Orochimaru jumped off the giant python's head and hurried towards Jiraiya. When Jiraiya was still 10 meters away, his neck stretched without warning, and in the blink of an eye he came to Jiraiya and bit his neck. Ninfa Needle Jizo. Jiraiya reacted quickly and quickly used his unique defensive ninjutsu. The long white hair on the back of his head grew instantly, covering his whole body, with long thorns leaking out, turning Jiraiya into a big white hedgehog. Before Orochimaru's head had time to break, he bit on the white spikes outside the opponent's neck, and his face became paler because of the pain. But he also has the trick of mouth and belly sword, and a long sword suddenly spit out from his mouth, which penetrated Jiraiya's white hair and pierced into his body. Fortunately, the white-haired Jiraiya sensed that his life was in danger and quickly avoided, otherwise his neck would be pierced by a sword. This is another Kusunaru sword of Orochimaru. It is extremely sharp and hard, and it restrains Jiraiya's Needle Jizo hedgehog defense. Jiraiya had to retreat quickly, unlocking the hedgehog's defenses, covering the top of his left chest with his right hand, a trace of blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth, and gasping for breath. The upper lobe of his left lung was pierced and his injury was in danger. Jiraiya was really careless. I didn't expect Orochimaru could still spit out a sword. Before the opponent defected, there was no such insidious ninjutsu as the master. Seeing that Tsunade was about to come forward to treat Jiraiya, he didn't expect that the actor Kabuto suddenly rushed in front of her and stopped her. Just because you want to block me, kid. Tsunade looked at the actor Kabuto coldly. To deal with Tsunade-sama, one of Sannin, I am really under a lot of pressure, but what if? When the actor Kabuto finished speaking, he suddenly pierced his left hand with kunai, and the blood poured out. He looked at Tsunade with confidence and disdain, both of whom were medical ninjas. He really looked down on Tsunade, who had phobia. Now, he waited to see Tsunade panicked, and then went to ravage her again. However, Tsunade's face only turned pale, and then immediately returned to normal, and immediately kicked the actor Kabuto. On the contrary, the face of the actor Do showed a trace of panic. He thought Orochimaru's intelligence was wrong or deliberately came to cheat him. If Tsunade has no phobias, then he can't deal with it at all. However, after a few moves, the actor Kabuto's face changed again, revealing a hint of joy. He didn't expect Tsunade's physical skills to be nothing more than a match for him. Naruto, who was hiding in the dark, frowned when he saw this. In the original book, Tsunade, who had not seen blood, and Kabuto, who had not seen blood, were like this when they were fighting with the actor Kabuto. It can only be said that Tsunade, who has not experienced combat all the year round and is addicted to gambling, has lost too much strength. Shizune, you come to deal with him, I will treat Jiraiya. Tsunade snorted and ran towards Jiraiya quickly. In this situation, the main thing is to solve Orochimaru. Her strength has declined, and she can only rely on Jiraiya. The actor Kabuto wanted to stop Tsunade, but Shizune stopped him. Unfortunately, Shizune's strength is at most the ordinary Jonin level. Facing the elite Jonin, Kabuto, the actor, was beaten on the ground after using a few poisonous tricks. Oh, it seems that Tsunade has not seriously instructed Shizune, nor has he thought of letting Shizune fight, but only taught medical ninjutsu, not even the strange power technique. Naruto thought of this, and in the blink of an eye he walked behind the actor Kabuto, and his right hand Rasengan slammed into the back of his heart. But the actor Kabuto is an elite Jonin level after all, with extremely rich combat experience. He quickly avoided Naruto's sneak attack, and distanced himself from him, standing face to face. Oh, I didn't expect it to be you, Uzumaki Naruto. The actor Kabuto pushed the glasses on his face and looked at Naruto with interest. It seems that you and Master Jiraiya have learned a lot during this time. But these are the skills, but you can't kill me. With that, the actor Kabuto suddenly turned forward, and his right-hand chakra knife swung at Naruto's heart fiercely. If hit by him, Naruto's heart will stop beating instantly, making it difficult to survive. But Naruto's reaction was not slow. His figure disappeared in the same place in a flash. At the same time, a whirlwind suddenly appeared around the actor Kabuto, wrapping him inside. The actor Kabuto had a surprised expression, but he escaped from the whirlwind's attack immediately. Suddenly, Naruto stretched out two hands covering the chakra knife, and quickly cut Naruto's Achilles tendons, causing his feet to be scrapped. The actor Kabuto immediately got out of the ground, grabbed Naruto's feet with both hands, and threw Naruto to the ground with a touch of disdain at the corner of his mouth. Swish! Suddenly, the body of the captured Naruto turned into countless cyan wind blades, and his brain pounced on the actor Kabuto next to him. The disdain from the corners of his mouth immediately dissipated, his face changed drastically, and his eyes were covered by countless wind blades. This is the wind clone, newly figured out by Naruto, which is similar to Kakashi's thunder clone. Boom! The actor Kabuto used the body replacement technique to escape, leaving only a wooden stake in place, and appeared in the distance in the next second. Although he evaded in time, his face and the front of his body were still cut with more than a dozen wounds, and blood gurgled out. Oh, careless! Actor Kabuto gasped and laughed at himself. I didn't expect your wind-style ninjutsu to be so powerful. Naruto can quickly dodge the actor Kabuto's attack from below the ground, mainly relying on the sage body of the Senju clan he just got, with the attached earth perception skill. He also didn't expect that earth sensing would have such a function, and he would not be afraid of attacks from the underground in the future, and he could even take the opportunity to counter the enemy. At this time, Naruto no longer talks nonsense with the actor Kabuto, nor will he give the injured opponent any chance of breathing. That is something that only villains and idiots can do. I saw him put his hands together. A large number of hurricanes suddenly appeared from all directions and encircled the actor Kabuto. Once the other party was involved, he would die of chaos and dismemberment. Unfortunately, the actor Kabuto is really cunning, and he has the essence of the life-saving master Orochimaru. He dived into the ground again and disappeared. In Naruto's earth perception, the other party actually lurked 10 meters behind him. Then suddenly he jumped out, his hands were already printed, and a ball of flame sprayed towards Naruto when he opened his mouth. Naruto seemed to have learned later, as if there was no time to react, and when the flames had already burned to his back, he dodged abruptly to the side. If it were other ninjas who had no perception, they might really have to be successfully raided by the actor Kabuto, but Naruto was different, he had already taken countermeasures. It was Shadow Clone that was swallowed by flames, and his body was already hiding in the air. At the same time, another Shadow Clone came behind the actor Kabuto, carrying the wind blade in both palms, and severely cut him at the waist. Wow! Kabuto, the actor in front of him, turned into a puddle of mud and fell on the ground. It turned out that this was just his soil clone. Another actor Kabuto appeared behind Naruto's Shadow Clone, and his right-hand chakra knife pierced into the heart of Shadow Clone. Boom! The Shadow Clone dissipated, and the actor Kabuto's face changed slightly, but it was too late to react, because his neck had been chopped off by another Naruto behind him. Wow! The actor Kabuto once again turned into a mass of mud and fell on the ground. This is also the avatar of the actor Kabuto. The scene suddenly quieted down. This operation is enough to prove the cunning of Naruto and the actor Kabuto, and neither of them is willing to expose their bodies. Naruto can perceive that Kabuto, the actor, is still hiding under the ground, but he has no way to kill the opponent. He only masters the sea-level earth-style technique. At this moment, he was thinking that if the system points are enough, he must exchange it for a earth god body or something. Oh, it's a pity, I have 0 points now, and I can't redeem anything. Naruto thought. However, if I can kill the actor Kabuto, I will earn 100 points and I can continue to redeem it. At the same time, Kabuto, the actor who was hiding under the ground, was also surprised by Naruto's strength. This is not the strength that Chunin can possess at all. It seems that the information I collected before is completely wrong. The actor Kabuto thought in his heart. But, I can't stay underground forever, I will be suffocated to death. Both had plans in their hearts, and the battle was about to start again. Rumble. The ground suddenly rolled up, and the shadow clone who was standing on the ground quickly got up and jumped up, but a bunch of earth guns took advantage of the opportunity that he could not turn in the air and shot him from the ground. Boom. Shadow clone dissipated, but this seemed to be a signal. Naruto, who was hiding in the air, suddenly flashed behind a huge boulder, and Rasengan with his right hand smashed against the surface of the boulder. Boom. The actor Kabuto suddenly appeared on the surface of the boulder, his eyes full of shock. It turns out that after coming out of the underground just now, he used invisibility to hide here. This is his body. At this time, Naruto used Rasengan to hit his abdomen fiercely, and the boulders leaning on his back were shattered. You are a perception ninja. The actor Kabuto's eyes revealed an incredible color. He couldn't imagine how much key information he had missed. This made it difficult for him to accept a self-proclaimed elite spy. However, he was surprised and surprised. At the same time as he was injured, he had launched a counterattack, and his right-hand chakra knife quickly pierced Naruto's heart. Boom, boom. The actor Kabuto's body followed the broken boulder and flew back more than 10 meters before stopping. But his abdominal trauma is actually recovering quickly. This is his unique recovery ninjutsu, which can gather chakra inside the injured area before or at the moment of injury. At the same time as the injury, chakra is already repairing the body. The price is that the amount of chakra consumed is very large. Ha ha. The actor Kabuto can still laugh in this situation because he is recovering, but Naruto pierced his heart in the attack just now and fell to the ground. After all, the actor Kabuto is an elite Jonin level, and he counterattacked while being attacked. Your strength really exceeded my expectations, but that's it. The actor Kabuto stood up slowly. His abdomen was already in good condition, except for the broken clothes. There was no trace of being attacked by Rasengan. He triumphantly looked at Naruto, who was lying on the ground unable to move, and continued, I can be admired by Master Orochimaru. This rapid recovery ability is one of the important reasons. However, Naruto, lying on the ground, didn't panic in the face of his injury, because he could also feel that his heart was recovering quickly. When he exchanged for the God-level Bloodline level Uzumaki clan sage body, he considered whether his physical cure could be comparable to Wolverine. Now, it's a real hammer. Even if it doesn't match it, it won't be far behind. Because he would die on the spot after a hard rupture, but he was recovering quickly. Hehe, do you know why I attacked you with my body? Naruto lay on the ground, staring at the white clouds in the sky, and said in a playful tone. Because I know your true strength. If it is Shadow Clone, it will dissipate as soon as your counterattack pierces your heart, and Rasengan will naturally dissipate, so you will lose the opportunity to attack you. The actor Kabuto listened to what Naruto said, and slowly walked to Naruto's body, pushed his glasses, took out a handful of kunai with his right hand, and looked down at Naruto condescendingly. But your practice of exchanging injuries for injuries is too stupid, because you don't know anything about my strength. After all, the actor Kabuto shot the kunai in his hand into Naruto's neck. Yes, Naruto's voice suddenly came from behind the actor Kabuto, and the wind blade with his right hand pierced through the back of the opponent, piercing the actor Kabuto's heart. How is this possible? The actor Kabuto felt the sharp pain in his heart, and looked down at the place where Naruto lay just now, leaving only a handful of kunai stuck on the ground. Where is Naruto's figure? Oh, you can restore another one for me to see. Naruto said mockingly. You know nothing about power. Puff. The actor Kabuto's body fell to the ground. A generation of elite spies, an Oscar actor, a genius young ninja, and one of the future ninja boss fell into the hands of Naruto. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing one Jonin and rewarding 100 points. In the distance, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade, who were still fighting, looked at this place one after another, with incredible expressions in their eyes at the same time. Kabuto, Orochimaru exclaimed. He was more shocked and unbelievable than anyone else. He knew very well about the actor Kabuto's strength. He was a genius ninja comparable to Kakashi. Did not expect. That Nine-Tails kid, there are a lot of secrets hidden in him. Orochimaru's eyes looked at Naruto, the shock dissipated, showing extreme curiosity. Immediately, his body sank into the ground and disappeared. Because he knew that he had no chance to intimidate Tsunade to treat him. After Naruto got 100 system points for killing the actor Kabuto, he considered it carefully and exchanged it for a Bloodline upgrade scroll which was used to upgrade Sage Body of the Senju clan. Because he is very eager to know, when Sage Body of the Senju clan is also upgraded to God Bloodline, what will it be combined with the Uzumaki clan Sage Body? Will you get Senju Hashirama's wood style directly, or other better abilities? Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for upgrading Sage Body of the Senju clan to level 2. Next, Naruto returned to Konoha village with Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune. In the process, Naruto is still practicing unremittingly. The body exercises physical fitness, and dozens of shadow clones not only practice body art moves, but also learn his unique hair ninjutsu, needle jizo, and random lion hair technique with Jiraiya. Naruto once suspected that this was the ninjutsu inherited from Otsutsuki Kagaya, and did not know how Jiraiya learned it. These two types of hair ninjutsu are both offensive and defensive, and extremely practical. Although they are not powerful enough, they win because they are fast and unexpectedly. They are Jiraiya's common enemy methods. There are also a few shadow clone learning medical ninjutsu with Tsunade. Although he has superb physical cure when he is treating others in the future, he can't let others bite himself. This is Hinata's privilege. Since he learned that Rin Nohara can perform eyeball removal and replacement surgery for Kakashi, he has developed a strong interest in medical ninjutsu in this world. For Naruto, who already has level 2 Sage Body of the Senju clan and a small level ninjutsu talent, learning these ninjutsu and medical ninjutsu is very fast. This makes Tsunade several people more admiration of Naruto. As Naruto returned to Konoha while practicing, his female avatar followed Orochimaru all the way to a forest. With the superb level of Kagura Shinyen, even Orochimaru did not notice her existence. Whoosh! A sword flew from dozens of meters away and chopped off Orochimaru's head with lightning speed. This is the female avatar who is getting Orochimaru's Kusunaru sword, but he has been upgraded to Sacred Tool with Ninja Upgrade Scroll. This Kusunaru sword, which could have been manipulated in the air, is now able to take the enemy's first level within 100 meters. Seeing Orochimaru's head cut off and falling to the ground motionless, the female avatar hiding in the dark sneered, unmoved. If it were someone else in the ninja world, I would have thought that Orochimaru was dead, but only Naruto knew that Orochimaru would also use a big snake flow body replacement technique similar to a snake shed its skin and a golden cicada shed its shell. And this is just one of Orochimaru's life-saving methods. And this is also the purpose of the female avatar, to assassinate Orochimaru now. Compared with Jiraiya's toad-based ninjutsu, which is mainly auxiliary, Orochimaru's snake-based ninjutsu is mainly based on direct attack and life-saving. Such as Orochimaru's shulker snake hand and so on. These are what the female avatar wants to learn. After the Konoha collapse plan last time, he got Kusunaru sword and Raichi cave summoning scroll from Orochimaru. This time he wants to continue to stalk Orochimaru wool. Whoosh! The flying sword pierced Orochimaru's corpse again, and simply dismantled it to 8 pieces. He didn't believe that Orochimaru could still get a new body out of his mouth. But the female avatar still underestimated Orochimaru's cunning. At this moment, a long neck suddenly came out from under the tree, and it bit at the female avatar who was hiding in the bush. Fortunately, at the very moment, the female avatar evaded in time with the body replacement technique, and then looked at Orochimaru, who had emerged from the ground in surprise. "How did you find me?" the female avatar asked in surprise. She didn't believe Orochimaru could perceive her, who had hidden chakra. HMPH, I can perceive any snake breath, let alone the breath of Raichi cave on your body. Orochimaru retracted his neck, looked at the female avatar with a sneer, and continued, I wonder if you, a descendant of the mysterious Uzumaki clan, are looking for me. Orochimaru didn't mention the fact that the female avatar cut his head with a flying sword. It seems to him that this is the normal way to greet him. I want your snake ninjutsu, especially the skin-shedding ninjutsu. The female avatar looked at Orochimaru with a grin, and said directly. HMPH, give me a reason. Orochimaru didn't think he was disgusted, and seemed to want to trade with the female avatar. It could only be said that it was Orochimaru. Why don't I knock Sasuke out of you, take off my clothes and send it over? The female avatar winked at Orochimaru. Okay, Orochimaru also showed a wicked smile. But in the next second, two giant pythons suddenly rushed out from behind the female avatar, opened their huge mouths and bit at her. Boom, boom. The female avatar turned her feet and kicked the two giant pythons to a distance. It seems that you don't want to. The female avatar shrugged. What about this? As he said, the flying sword flew again and pierced Orochimaru's head straight. Pouching, Orochimaru's body turned into a puddle of mud and fell on the ground. In the distance, Orochimaru's body reappeared. Sasuke-kun. He sneered, and was about to say something hoarse, only to find that he was bound by a black and gold rope all over his body, and he couldn't even move the chakra inside. Orochimaru's smile dissipated, and his pale face became solemn. It seems that you have a lot of means. I'm really curious about who you are. Orochimaru, I know, even if you kill you can't die completely. The female avatar stared at Orochimaru with scorching eyes, and continued. But if you don't promise me today, I can only see you once and kill you once. Orochimaru's snake eyes are extremely cold, and the female avatar in front of him has already revealed his biggest hole card, and it seems that the other party still knows more about his secrets. If you are willing to tell me your origins, I don't mind teaching you all my master's snake ninjutsu. Orochimaru said coldly. The female avatar considered it for a moment. If Orochimaru really couldn't be humiliated, and let him kill him, and then escape as a snake, he really had nothing to do. So she had an idea and pulled down her mask. It's you. Orochimaru's snake Hitomi shrank suddenly, blurting out in disbelief. Now, give me the scroll of ninjutsu, I promise this is the last time, how about it? The female avatar said with a smile, and the cold light of the flying sword was erected above Orochimaru's head. What about you? Orochimaru licked his lips, opened his big mouth suddenly, and spit out a huge scroll like a giant python. Shadow Clone took it forward, wiped off the disgusting slime on it, and after confirming that there were no traps, handed the scroll to the female avatar. Orochimaru, thank you for your ninjutsu, don't let it go. The female avatar smiled at Orochimaru, her body disappeared in a flash. Orochimaru raised his brow when he saw this, flying thunder god technique. Is he really? Not long after the female avatar left Orochimaru, she stopped. She turned around, looked at a big tree without any figure behind her, and sneered, should I invite you out? As soon as the voice fell, a Nepenthes weird with a black and white yin and yang face slowly peeked out of the tree trunk. The comers are naturally black Zetsu and white Zetsu. Naruto is accustomed to separate the two of them. After all, black Zetsu is part of Kagaya's incarnation of will, and there is only one. White Zetsu is a human who has fallen into infinite Tsukuyomi in ancient times, and there are countless individuals. Only the fooled Obito and even Uchiha Madara do not know the true origin of black Zetsu. This is the story of Naruto now. Seeing black Zetsu appear, a trace of murder flashed in the eyes of Naruto's female avatar. This is an old coin that has lived for 1,000 years, and third Hokage is a rookie compared to him, so we still have to find an opportunity to kill him as soon as possible. Have you heard of Akatsuki? Black Zetsu asked first. Listening to Black Zetsu's voice, there is always a feeling of yin. Hey, are you trying to pull me into the gang? The female avatar asked with a surprised expression on her face, do you know who I am? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Akatsuki only invites powerful ninjas who are willing to cooperate. They don't care about your privacy and other privacy. Black Zetsu continued. Haha, that's good, I hope you don't regret it. A meaningful smile appeared on the female avatar's mouth. Naruto's original intention was to let the female avatar kill people outside and earn system points for herself, just like the Chunin exam, but now she has unexpected happiness. At this time, a bold plan flashed through the feminine body and mind, but he still needed an opportunity to discuss with Naruto ontology. After entering Akatsuki's organization, what do I need to do? What can I get? The female avatar asked. You need to cooperate to complete Akatsuki's tasks, you can get rewards or other things you want. Black Zetsu explained. The female avatar nodded. Yes, I will join the Akatsuki organization. Okay, 2 of the members will be here soon, and you can go to our stronghold with them. After Black Zetsu finished speaking, he hid in the trunk again and disappeared. The female avatar looked to her left. There, Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame were rushing here. 10 minutes later, a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, Uchiha Itachi looked at the red-haired masked female avatar and asked. His expression was the same as Furui Shibuya, which made people unable to guess his inner thoughts. The female avatar looked at Uchiha Itachi in front of her, and she couldn't help but say something to the actor Kabuto who had been killed by him. Sorry, I wronged you, this guy in front of you is the real actor and elite spy. A descendant of the Uchiha clan, the female avatar asked with a grin. When Uchiha Itachi heard this slightly mocking sentence, he still had no expression. The will of fire is really terrifying. The female avatar couldn't help sighing. Hey, don't think you are a woman and I dare not beat you. Kisame saw Itachi being humiliated and took the initiative to speak for him. Hey, is this the tradition of the Akatsuki organization? Every newcomer has to be beaten first. The female avatar sneered and said, why don't you try me? After all, a huge centipede made of white clay suddenly appeared from under Uchiha Itachi's feet, and then tightly wrapped around his body. Hey, aren't you a descendant of the Uzumaki clan? How could Deidara's ninjutsu? And, this scene seems familiar, hehe. Kisame said with a smile on the side. Look at your feet, Uchiha Itachi said with a calm voice, the female avatar. The female avatar was energetic for a while, and looked down, only to see that huge white centipede entangled herself for some time. Is this an illusion? The female avatar showed a shocked expression on her face. Oh, it seems that you were as stupid as Deidara. I really don't know why the organization invited you people in. Kisame said helplessly, covering his forehead. Really? Haha, the female avatar suddenly turned her face, showing a meaningful smile, and said to the two of them, why don't you look up? Uchiha Itachi and Kisame immediately raised their heads and looked up. I saw another red-haired masked woman riding on a big white bird, and at the same time, a huge white humanoid clay had fallen above them. Art as an explosion. Boom. Uchiha Itachi and Kisame hurriedly resorted to life-saving methods, and they realized that the female avatar in front of them was just a clone, and even the illusion in the body was deliberately done. At this moment, not only there was an explosion above the head, but also the masked female clay clone not far in front of her, and the huge centipede on her body suddenly exploded. Boom. After a long time, the smoke dissipated. Uchiha Itachi hid in the red Susanoo, his eyes revealed a sense of fatigue, and it was estimated that a lot of pupil power was consumed. Kisame hid in a large water polo, but was still injured and was recovering from his injuries while holding Samahata in his hand. How, do you want to test my strength again? The voice of the female avatar came from the air, and asked triumphantly. Seeing Uchiha Itachi deflated, she felt proud. Uchiha Itachi raised his head and looked at the female avatar in the sky, his eyes deep. In fact, he was short-sighted and couldn't see clearly. Even if he wanted to perform illusion on the female avatar, he had more than enough energy. Seeing Uchiha Itachi's red Susanoo, the female avatar knew that it was basically impossible to kill the other person today, unless Naruto was called over and Mangekyo was turned on. But this is not worth the loss. It is better to wait until Uchiha Itachi or Naruto is stronger in the future. With the system in hand, it will be sooner or later to reach the top of the ninja world. I'm going to Rain Shinobi Village first, let's go slowly. Thinking of this, the female avatar called the clay bird and left. Going to Rain Shinobi Village with Uchiha Itachi, she always feels uncomfortable all over. Dawn of Darkness. The female avatar feels that she is falling into the darkness. Uchiha Itachi watched the female avatar leave without saying anything. Kisame healed the injury, put Samahata on his back again, and chuckled. This new member knows a lot, and I don't know if the organization recruited her, it was a blessing or a curse. At the same time, a certain hole. Black Zetsu drilled out of the ground and said to the mask Obito, the descendant of the Uzumaki clan is heading to Rain Shinobi Village. He seems to know a little about Akatsuki. It's okay, it's just tool labor. After Project Tasuki no Mi is implemented, you have to obediently fall into the illusion. Mask Obito said in a low voice. Who should she go with? Black Zetsu continued. Each group is full of 2 people. Obito thought for a while. Why don't I go on stage in person? I can better monitor her with her. After Tsunade returned to Konoha smoothly, he started to succeed the 5th Hokage and took the time to treat Kakashi and Sasuke who were in Tsukuyomi. Fortunately, this time, Xiao Li's body is still intact, and he is alive and kicking with might guy for youthful exercise. Naruto stood aside, watching Tsunade put his green-lighted right hand on Sasuke's forehead, recovering from his trauma, and learning silently in his heart. In the past few days, he has used healing jutsu, which is commonly used in medical ninjutsu, and the preliminary master of ninjutsu, which extracts toxins. With his own physical cure, the therapeutic effect is absolutely leveraged. But mental trauma treatment belongs to high-end medical ninjutsu. Even his physical healing is impossible to achieve, so he needs to take the opportunity to study seriously. He wanted to secretly turn on Sharingan for copying, but he was worried that Tsunade would notice the abnormality in his eyes, and it would not be worth the loss. Tsunade's medical skills were really impressive. Only 2 minutes later, Sasuke, who had been in a coma for nearly a month, opened his eyes and sat up. Seeing this, Sakura, who was waiting patiently next to him, had tears in his eyes, and hugged Sasuke in one hand. Naruto looked at Byakugan and turned over Byakugan, and couldn't help but grasp Hinata's little tender hand tightly. Yes, the first thing he did when he returned to Konoha was to find Hinata. Next, when Tsunade cured Kakashi, the might guy next to him wanted to cry and hug Kakashi, but was kicked by Kakashi. "Oh, let's go now, Hinata, may I invite you to have a ramen?" Naruto grinned and grabbed the shy Hinata, and continued. "Let's call Mrs. Iruka again. It's been a long time since we've seen him. I miss him a little bit. Oh, by the way, Mr. Guy, Xiao Li, you guys also go together, I'll treat you." Naruto turned around and said to Might Guy and Xiao Li. Might Guy looked at Kakashi and hesitated, but finally said hello to Kakashi, leading Xiao Li to follow in Naruto's footsteps. "Kakashi, I've heard Jiraiya talk about Naruto, he is actually a very talented kid." Tsunade looked at Kakashi who was expressionless and continued. On the way back, Naruto defeated and killed the spy named Yakushi Kabuto. His strength is probably the same as yours. Hearing the words, Kakashi suddenly raised his head and looked at Tsunade, a flash of disbelief flashed in his eyes. In the past 12 years, Naruto's experience has really made me sigh. I can't say much about teacher 3rd generation, but you, including Jiraiya, did something wrong. After Tsunade finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. "Hurry up and cheer up, the village still needs you people." Tsunade opened the door and saw Sasuke and Sakura standing at the door with shocked faces, and left without saying anything. Sasuke has heard Tsunade's evaluation of Naruto, clenched his fists, his eyes full of unwillingness. Naruto killed Yakushi Kabuto, that guy comparable to Kakashi. Is he already this strong? The little Sakura next to him tightly grasped Sasuke's arm, looked at Sasuke, her face was full of worry, and at the same time, she was also happy for Naruto's growth. This complicated emotion made her feel a little worried. Since Konoha village was hit hard just now, in order not to show a debilitating image before other shinobu villages, not only did the number of mission orders received have not decreased, but instead increased a lot. This forced every ninja, including Genin's task load, to suddenly double. Naruto's 7th class was soon assigned a B-level protection mission. However, because Jonins like Kakashi are busy with other high-level tasks, this task can only be completed by Naruto, Sasuke and little Sakura. This is a B-level protection mission. Of course, it may also be upgraded to A-level mission due to emergencies. Tsunade handed over the task scroll to Naruto. She felt that even if it was promoted to the A-level task, it should be completed according to Naruto's strength. The approximate content of the task is: in the neighboring country of T, there is a worship ceremony held once every 4 years in Hangtai-shi. During the running events held at the same time, they need to protect the safety of the participants. After half an hour, the 3 Naruto left Konoha village and embarked on the road to the country of T. Traveling all the way, 3 hours later, they arrived at the country of T, found the client, Mr. Wasabi Jiro, and learned the details of the mission. The race for the worship ceremony is essentially a battle between the 2 major communities in the local town, Wasabi, and Hiei, for the dominance of the town. In order to win the final victory, both sides secretly hired ninjas to protect their contestants, and took the opportunity to assassinate the other contestants. Next, Naruto and the others met the contestant who needed protection, Morinoi Taten, a self-righteous arrogant teenager. At the same time, the other party is still the brother of Konoha village Morino Ibiki, but he left Konoha village because of something, and has been inexplicably hostile to Konoha shinobi from then on. Of course, for these trivial matters, Naruto doesn't care about the task, just complete the task, don't care about the process. By the way, killing people can accumulate a wave of system points. On the second day, the race officially began. The three of Naruto stood beside Morinoi Twoden, protecting this guy at any time. I think Elder Jiro is really unreasonable. It's useless to hire you ninjas, Morinoi said with an unhappy expression on his face. Naruto glanced at him and said nothing. You just have to be on the sidelines, don't get in the way of me. Naruto saw that the three of Naruto didn't speak, and continued to speak rudely. Snapped. Naruto slapped the opponent's face with a slap, staring at him disdainfully and said, "We are here to complete the task. We are not here to listen to your second-hand beeping, let alone you are not our client." Sasuke and Sakura next to him were taken aback when they saw this. They were a little surprised at the change in Naruto's character, but considering that he was right, they didn't stop it. Morinoi Taten is just the person they need to protect, and the client is Mr. Wasabi Jiro. Morinoi Twoden took a slap in the face and wanted to continue screaming, but when he saw Naruto's murderous eyes, he swallowed. Sure enough, this guy is just a bully who is afraid of hardship. Beep. The game officially started. The contestant of the Hii Club was a guy named Fukusuke, and immediately ran towards the boat in front of him. According to the normal race route, they need to take a boat to one end of the opposite island, then run to the other end with both legs, and then return by boat. Calling it a race is actually a bit of a misnomer, but there is no way. The country of T is an archipelago country, and the small town is also a port. However, Morinoi Twoden didn't play cards according to the routine, and ran in the other direction. Little Sakura let out a surprise, and was about to speak, but was stopped by Naruto. Morinoi Taten has his own ideas and small strategies, they only need to protect him and kill the ninja who sneaks. Sure enough, Senei Twoden found a shortcut according to the changes in the weather. When the few people were about to move on, Naruto's expression moved, and a shadow clone was silently separated, and with the Flying Thunder God technique, he came to the Flying Thunder God mark left on the road just now. 5 minutes later, 3 Chunin from Rain Shinobi Village fell to the ground. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for killing 3 Chunin and earning 30 points. Chunin, for the current Naruto, is really like cutting melons and vegetables. There is also a Jonin, who is with another contestant, with 100 points, which is good. Soon after arriving on another small island by boat, Naruto and the others met Jonin, Aoi, led by Rain Shinobi Village hired by the Kaichi Society. This guy was originally a Konoha village spy and Morina's teacher. He coaxed Morinoha to steal top-secret information. It is similar to how sand sculptor Mizuki tricked Naruto into stealing the Book of Seal. But Aoi not only succeeded in obtaining top-secret information, but also obtained second Hokage Senju Tobarama's Thunder God sword. However, Morino Ibis immediately regained the top-secret information and drove away his younger brother Morino Taten. To this day, Aoi appears again, to kill the once stupid disciple, the current contestant Morinoi Taten. As the saying goes, when the enemies meet, they are extremely jealous. Naruto was even more jealous, but it was Thunder God's sword in Aoi's hand that he was jealous. This is a laser sword similar to the previous movie, Star Wars, capable of urging a little thunder and lightning. It may be Senju Tobarama, a ghost with a high IQ, a black technology ninja made in the past. The name is very domineering, but in fact it is a bit misleading. However, Naruto's body does not yet have a weapon at hand. The Kusunaru sword captured from Orochimaru's mouth is not visible and can only be used by the female avatar. It just so happens that after he has enough points, he can redeem and use Ninja Upgrade Scroll to upgrade it and become the second artifact. Of course, the premise of all this is to kill this guy Aoi. Sen Nai Yi Pao Tien, it's been a long time, Kwai said jokingly at the once stupid disciple. Seeing that the other two had a tendency to chat and beep, Naruto quickly interrupted them. Okay, I'm still competing now, hurry up and finish the game, I will go back and continue my practice after the task is over. Ha, Konoha's little ghost is really getting more and more rampant now. Aoi said, looking at Naruto with unkind eyes. He wanted to say something more, but found that there was a crisis behind him, and he turned around and resisted with Thor's sword without thinking about it. Boom! Rasengan and Thor's sword collided. Fast speed. I was still talking to me last second, and came behind me in a blink of an eye. Kwai said in surprise. He felt that he underestimated the Konoha imp, but it's only that. With that, a large amount of thunder and lightning erupted from the Thor's sword and directly attacked Naruto. Boom! The Naruto in front of me turned into a cloud of white smoke. No, this is just Shadow Clone. Kwai was shocked and immediately got up to avoid. Rasengan. Another Naruto attacked from the side, but was avoided in time by the opponent. Kwai Shin dodged aside with lingering fears. Just standing still, she saw Sasuke rushing towards him again, the power of thunder flashing in her hand. Gone. Does every Konoha imp can a kind of powerful ninjutsu? Aoi cursed in his heart, holding the Thor's sword and greeted him. Boom! The Thor's sword and Chidori collided with each other, but the next second, the Thor's sword became powerful, and Sasuke was electrocuted to the ground. Ha! I was scared to death. It turned out to be a little devil who is strong in the outside world. Kui Chongshu said in a sigh of relief. You are the descendant of Uchiha. I didn't expect that it would be better than the yellow-haired kid just now, which frightened me. Sasuke fell to the ground, her fists clenched, her face flushed. Little Sakura stepped forward to help him, but he pushed him away. Are you talking about me? Naruto's voice came from overhead. Kwai was shocked, and just raised his head and looked up, only to see Naruto descend from the sky holding Rasengan in his hand. He raised the Thor's sword again to block it. Unexpectedly, this time, Naruto's figure flashed, disappeared from the top of his head, and appeared next to him in the next second. Boom! Rasengan hit Kwai's waist fiercely, blasted him directly for tens of meters, breaking several big trees. His internal organs had been twisted, his life was killed on the spot, and he didn't even say a last word. Ding dong! Congratulations to host for killing one of Jonin and earning 100 points. The villain died because of a lot of talk, and the ancients don't deceive me. Naruto smiled forward and took the Thunder God's sword from Aoi's hand, carefully admiring it. This sword is just a hilt when not in use, and it is quite convenient to carry. When in use, you can use chakra to excite a laser-like entity's sword body. You, Jonin, rely too much on this weapon. In the face of attacks, you have repeatedly held the Thor's sword to fight hard. Naruto shook his head and said, there is more than a guilty death. The obstacles of the Wasabi Club were swept away, and the next game was a smooth journey. Without the harassment of the opposing ninja, Morinoi Twoden relied on her own speed to finally win the race and win the dominance of the town for the Wasabi Association. The three of Naruto immediately bid farewell to the task principal, Mr. Wasabi Jiro, and left. I should have been happy to complete the task so smoothly, but on the way back to Konoha village, Sasuke was somber and silent. Naruto knew that it was not far from Sasuke defecting. He must also make up his mind whether to leave Konoha village with Sasuke. Naruto, I want to fight you again. Sasuke stopped suddenly, turned to look at Naruto and said, he seemed to want to see the gap between himself and Naruto again. Sasuke, you have been defeated by me 7 times before. Naruto hit him without hesitation. If you are defeated by me this time, you must promise me one condition. What conditions? Sasuke asked with a frown. The time is running out, I'll tell you when it's time. Naruto said with his eyes rolling. Humph. Sasuke snorted coldly, and rushed towards Naruto with Kuna in his hand. Well, just right, I can use you to test the results of my physical practice following teacher Guy in the most recent period of time. Naruto raised his brows and slammed at Sasuke with a kunai in his hand. The sound of ping pong 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 clashes immediately followed. However, Naruto is still inferior to Sasuke, not because of his poor physical skills, but because Sasuke opened Sharingan. You hang up, so do I. Naruto snorted and thought. 10 Shadow Clone appeared beside Sasuke and surrounded him, while Naruto's body stood aside and watched. Although Shadow Clone is more crispy, but Shadow Clone's physical skills are also good, and if one is blown up, he will add one. Anyway, he still has chat pull. As for opening Mangekyo Sharingan, it's not useful to deal with Sasuke, and it's not good if he notices it with Sharingan. The whole cards should be used at the most critical time, such as when to abuse Orochimaru again. Hey. Sure enough, after 5 minutes, Sasuke was dead. He frowned, jumped out of the encirclement, and a ball of lightning came out of his right hand. Oh, it seems you are going to make a big move, I will come too. As Naruto said, 10 shadow clones stretched out their right hands unwillingly, and each light blue Rasengan quickly appeared in the palm of his hand. Sasuke, Naruto, you guys, can you stop the fight? Next to him, little Sakura asked worriedly. But neither of them paid attention to him. Yeah, Sasuke snorted, staring at blood-red eyes, and went straight to Naruto's shadow clone with sparks and lightning. 10 shadow clones surrounded them, but they disappeared after being touched by the arc. Oh, it's so crispy. Naruto sighed, holding Rasengan in his right hand and hitting the Chidori fiercely. Boom, Sasuke flew out, lying motionless on the ground. Naruto stepped back and stood still. Victory or defeat is divided. Hey, the hearts of the people are scattered, and the team is not easy to lead. At Konoha Hospital, Kakashi leaned against the trunk of the big tree outside the window of Sasuke's ward and sighed. On the back of the trunk, Jiraiya was leaning against. How did you teach Naruto such a dangerous ninjutsu? That technique is too early for Naruto. If not, it will really kill Sasuke this time. Kakashi continued, he was referring to Rasengan. Hehe, let's each other, that Chidori is also quite dangerous. Jiraiya sneered, and retorted unceremoniously, but I didn't expect that the descendant of Uchiha would use that technique on his companion first. When Kakashi heard the words, his expression was stagnant, and he was speechless. This time, it was indeed the Chidori that Sasuke used first. Do these two guys have any deep hatred? Jiraiya asked. Oh, it's hard to explain in a word. The relationship between the two of them is just like you and Orochimaru in the past. Kakashi said straightforwardly. For Naruto, Sasuke is both a friend and a competitor. But for Sasuke, Naruto's rapid growth has put him under tremendous pressure. When Jiraiya heard the words, his eyes flickered and said, is it because of revenge? Did the appearance of Uchiha Itachi make him anxious? Alas, let's just educate him. Yeah, Kakashi nodded, looked to the side of the hospital room. Sasuke, who was lying on the bed with dull eyes, continued, I'll talk about Sasuke, and Naruto will leave it to you. At this time, Naruto is practicing with Might Guy in the training ground. Jiraiya found him and asked him, Naruto, do you have any plans next? Practice plan. Naruto replied while doing push-ups, I want to learn your Toad ninjutsu, okay. According to your talent and current strength, it is a good choice to enrich various methods, Jiraiya thought for a while and said. But if you want to practice Toad ninjutsu, you need to get to know life with various toads in Mount Myoboku for a while. I have to say hello to Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. Toad Sage, is it the boss of Mount Myoboku? Naruto asked, pretending to be curious. Ah, you can understand it this way, let me tell you more specifically when I return from Mount Myoboku. Jiraiya said, then I will go to Mount Myoboku and wait for my return. As he said, Jiraiya nodded his hands and disappeared with a bang. Naruto stopped the push-ups and lay down on the ground and thought about it calmly. The old toad of Mount Myoboku should agree with me to enter Mount Myoboku, and it is likely to be the same as the original. Let me learn the magic of Mount Myoboku. The magic of Mount Myoboku must be learned, although it lasts a short time. But in contrast, it is said that in order to learn Raichi Cave's celestial arts, one must be bitten by the old snake. Who knows if there will be any disadvantages in this? Just let the female avatar learn, and don't be afraid of disadvantages. Except for Raichi Cave and Mount Myoboku, there may be immortals in the Wetbone Forest. It's just that if you want to learn, you must first get Tsunade's consent, and I don't know if the Wetbone Forest fairy technique will have other drawbacks. All things considered, it is necessary to learn Toad-type ninjutsu and Mount Myoboku first before considering defecting to Konoha. Oh, Sasuke, it seems that my brother can't wave with you this time. At this time, Sasuke in Naruto's mouth ran out of the hospital, leaning on the trunk of the big tree outside the house alone, staring blankly. Kakashi found him, gave him some education and love wooing, which made Sasuke into entanglement. On the one hand, it was the revenge he thought about, the pictures and words of Itachi that flashed in his mind from time to time, and on the other hand, the bonds with Naruto, Sakura and Kakashi. Is it really difficult to choose? After Kakashi left, Sasuke kept leaning against the tree trunk in a daze, weighing and thinking. Suddenly, 4 weird-looking young men, kill Matt, surrounded Sasuke. Who are you? Sasuke asked in a deep voice. He didn't expect that these 4 guys would dare to sneak into Konoha village and deal with him. Otonin F4, Gatong Maru. Zakon, Jirobo, Tei Yuya. As soon as the voice fell, Otonin F4 began to gang up against Sasuke. Faced with these 4 weird ways to kill the mad boy, Sasuke was finally knocked to the ground. In this trash village, you won't get stronger. Sakin said to Sasuke, playing a painless game with your companions, you can only decay. Come with us. Yuya said, Orochimaru-sama will give you strength. Orochimaru. When Sasuke heard the name, that terrifying face flashed in his mind, and the curse mark suddenly appeared, covering his whole body. Ah! Sasuke yelled, and attacked the Otonin group again. Boom! Then he was kicked back without hesitation. He fixed his eyes, and there was a curse mark on the opposite Zoken. It seems that you still can't control the power of the curse seal. If you keep the curse seal in a liberated state for a long time, your body will slowly be corroded. Once it is completely corroded, you will lose yourself. Sakin continued to explain to him, because you are still in state 1, the erosion rate will be slower. The price for us to get the power of the curse is to be bound by Master Orochimaru forever. We have no freedom at all. Yuya said in a deep voice, however, if you want to get something, you have to abandon it. Have you forgotten your dream? Are you planning to play with your companions in this greenhouse for the rest of your life? Have you forgotten even Uchiha Itachi? This village is a prison for you, so quickly break with him. Only in this way can you gain powerful strength. Having said that, Otonin F4 left, leaving Sasuke alone in the same place, and a picture from the beginning of the night of the genocide flashed in his mind. Parents, people, ferrets. Naruto, Kakashi, little Sakura. There are other friends in the village. And the bits and pieces between them. But in the end only 2 deep pictures are left, one is Itachi's icy Sharingan, and the other is Naruto's triumphant smile after defeating him. Naruto can grow so fast, it must be because of Jiraiya, one of Sannin. Sasuke clenched his fists, clenched his teeth, and subconsciously touched the curse mark on his neck with his right hand. If I can get the power of Orochimaru, who is also one of Sannin, I can be stronger than Naruto and I can kill Itachi. At this moment, Sasuke's face was grim. 10 minutes later, the small road in Konoha village, this is a small road that has witnessed many people's heart journey. Sasuke came here subconsciously with his suitcase on his back. But little Sakura seemed to have a heart, waiting for him on this path. Naruto also came with him. Sasuke looked straight ahead calmly, and walked quietly beside Sakura since he was young, without looking at Naruto who was leaning against the tree trunk. Sasuke-kun. Little Sakura realized something and said softly with tears in the corner of her eyes. I have said before that I am different from you, and the paths that I and you have taken will never overlap. Sasuke stopped and said without looking back. 4 people walked all the way, and I found myself finally on the road of revenge, I live for this. Little Sakura was already in tears at the moment, she yelled. But, Sasuke-kun, I really like you. As long as you stay, I am willing to do anything for you. I will definitely make you the happiest person. Little Sakura summoned his courage and finally pleaded. So please, don't go. As if not hearing this, Sasuke raised his foot again and walked forward without hesitation. From this moment on, he has made up his mind. I will abandon everything I have and embark on the road of revenge, even if I dedicate my soul to the devil. Remember what I promised you before graduation. Naruto hugged his arms, looked at Sasuke walking by him with a smile, and patted his shoulder. If you need help, whether it's revenge or killing Orochimaru, I'll be there on call. Thank you, but one day, I will defeat you myself. Sasuke said coldly. Ha, you never have a chance. Naruto smiled and turned to leave. No one except him saw the flying thunder god mark engraved on Sasuke's shoulder. Seeing Sasuke resolutely left, Sakura immediately reported to Tsunade, but was knocked unconscious by the returning Sasuke unexpectedly. Until the next morning, little Sakura found herself and Naruto lying in the grass at the same time, and after a hurried examination of her body, she hurried to Hokage's office. Naruto followed behind with a frightened look, and at the same time secretly said in his heart. Fortunately, what he said to Sasuke yesterday was so quiet that little Sakura would not hear it, otherwise he would really have to deal with little Sakura with the pain. Inside Hokage's office, after hearing the news that Sasuke had defected, Tsunade looked incredulous and angry. What she thought of for the first time was what Orochimaru said when she was looking for her to treat her hands. That fool really put his pretense of Uchiha into action. Tsunade hit the table with a punch, and directly split the solid wood table in half. Yamato, an Anbu member who was guarding in the dark, saw this and couldn't help sighing in his heart. Orochimaru and Danzo of your sister, you made me for the purpose of greening Konoha village and making tables, chairs and benches, right? If Naruto who was present could read minds, he would definitely shout loudly, your uncle and your second uncle are all your uncles, and the high tables and low benches are all your wood. After Tsunade smashed the table, he quickly came up with countermeasures, called Shikamaru over, and then appointed Naruto and Shikamaru to the line. According to your performance and strength in the Chunin exam, you will be Chunin from today. Tsunade continued. Last night, Sasuke left the village and should have gone to Yinyan village. Sack of begging, why does Sasuke do this? Shikamaru asked in shock. Tsunade glanced at the silent Naruto, considered the words and said, he should have been tricked by Orochimaru. Why was Sasuke being tricked by such a dangerous guy? Orochimaru was the one who killed third Hokage. Shikamaru continued to ask. Don't worry about why, Tsunade said with a frown, time is running out. In short, what follows as your first mission is Chunin. Did you bring Sasuke back? If there are no other enemies, it's not a problem. Shikamaru thought for a while. Yes, but this task is extremely urgent. And it may become very tricky. Tsunade said solemnly, because Orochimaru's subordinates are likely to lead Sasuke the way. Shikamaru's face collapsed. It's so troublesome. Why not just arrange Jonin to do it? Shikamaru asked puzzledly. Impossible, the Jonin in the village, except for those who have to stay in the village to guard, have already gone out to perform tasks. Tsunade said helplessly. However, Naruto's combat power has also reached Jonin's level, and will be the main combat power this time. After hearing this, Shikamaru looked at Naruto incredulously. He couldn't think that the tail of the crane that had skipped classes with him at the ninja school actually had Jonin combat power. Of course, this does not mean that Naruto can become Jonin. After all, Jonin still needs to coordinate all aspects of ability, except for Jonin during the war. And it has been said before that after Konoha's collapse plan, Konoha village's strength was greatly damaged. But in order not to show signs of weakness in front of other ninja villages, the village had to arrange for ninjas to take over missions frantically, especially Jonin. Yesterday afternoon, after teaching Sasuke, Kakashi went out of the village to perform the task. Now, with the exception of Naruto, Shikamaru, you have to summon the genin you think is excellent, but you only have half an hour. Tsunade finally ordered. Naruto stay, Shikamaru, go and gather the staff. Yes. Shikamaru glanced at Naruto after hearing the words, and left quickly. Tsunade stared at Naruto for a while, then spoke for a while. You deliberately let go of Sasuke last night, otherwise, with your strength, how could you let Sasuke leave and still fainted in the grass with little Sakura all night? Naruto exhaled a long breath and said grinning. Mother-in-law Tsunade, Sasuke's purpose is to kill Uchiha Itachi for revenge, but Uchiha Itachi is Konoha's S-class wanted criminal. He killed a family. Isn't it right for Sasuke to kill him? Tsunade's expression was stagnant when she heard the words. She said several times what she wanted to say, but she couldn't say it. In the top secret scroll left by third generation, she saw the truth about Uchiha's genocide and learned that Uchiha Itachi is actually the true identity of Konoha's spy. Although she thought it was incredible, there must be some secrets in it. Well, then this mission, will you bring him back? Tsunade asked, narrowing his eyes. To be honest, it depends on his wishes, but I will kill all of Orochimaru's men. Naruto smiled and said, what do you think of this? Oh, okay, Tsunade sighed. Now the Konoha village ninja is stretched out, and he has to rely on Naruto's combat power to deal with the tricky Orochimaru subordinates. Half an hour later, Konoha Gate. Shikamaru assembled Choji, Inuzukaga, Neji, and Xiao Li. Xiao Li was not injured in this life. A group of 6 people, after the captain Shikamaru formulated a battle plan, immediately prepared to set off. Yes, Tsunade was worried about Naruto, so he appointed Shikamaru as the captain, and Shikamaru has a very high IQ and tactical planning ability, and he is also very suitable as a captain. The tactical formation of the pursuit is in a column, from front to back. The investigator Inuzuka, Shikamaru, who is in charge of the overall situation, and the strong melee Xiao Li, the most powerful, can support Naruto before and after, Choji who is destructive, and Neji who is on guard in the rear. And many more. Just as everyone was about to set off, there was little Sakura's voice behind him. Everyone turned around when they heard the words. Shikamaru looked at her and said mercilessly, "I heard about the situation from Hokage. I'm sorry I can't take you there this time, because you couldn't convince Sasuke yesterday." Little Sakura's face was sad, and then she burst into tears, watching Naruto cry, and said, "Naruto, this is the request of my life, please bring Sasuke back." Naruto looked at the little Sakura in tears, feeling a little dissatisfied. As in the original book, you hate me so much, but you always ask me for help when you need it. What do you think of me? Little Sakura, if I kill Sasuke, kill your parents, friends, classmates, will you find me revenge? Naruto looked at the little Sakura and asked suddenly. The 4 Shikamaru nearby were taken aback when they heard the words, and then showed thoughtful expressions. Little Sakura was stunned when he heard Naruto's question. She immediately understood what Naruto meant, and tried to say, "I will not get revenge," several times, but found that it was nonsense at all. So, little Sakura, don't persuade others to be kind to others without suffering. Naruto said a summary, then turned and walked forward, and said again without looking back. Besides, you shouldn't always wishful thinking. Sasuke should do it. You should do it. You just want to keep Sasuke by your side and fall in love with you for your own selfishness. Ha ha. At the same time, in the forest somewhere far away from Konoha village, Odonin F4 surrounded Sasuke. They gave Sasuke a bottle of pill named Shingshinwan. After taking this pill, Sasuke's curse mark will be forcibly awakened to state 2, gaining more powerful power. But once it reaches the second state, the curse seal will accelerate the erosion of the body, leading to death. But as long as Sasuke is in the big barrel of the 4 of them, it can offset the erosion and avoid death. Sasuke didn't think about it at all. Now he is desperate and has no retreat. In order to gain strength, he took the pill without hesitation and fell asleep in the large wooden barrel of Odonin F4. Chapter 51. Soon after Sasuke entered the large barrel of enchantment, Odonin F4 met the 4 Konoha Jonin who had returned to Konoha, including Shizune, Shiranui Genma, and Zule. Shiranui Genma was the referee in the 3rd session of the Chunin exam, the guy who looked very hanging with 1,000 books in his mouth. Oh, by the way, he and Tizutong were once the guards of 4th Hokage, confidant, haha. The Shiranui Genma and Hazo, who came forward to investigate the blocking, were quickly hit hard by the Odonin F4 that opened the curse seal. The strength of the similarity is a little worse, especially Jonin, but Jonin who doesn't know the strength of Huo Genma is proper. But they didn't even have a chance to send out a distress signal, so they were seriously injured. It can be seen that the strength of Odonin F4 must have reached the level of Jonin, of course, mainly because they turned on the curse seal state, and the methods were weird. Soon, the situation here was noticed by the pursuit troops. Inuzuka, who was ranked first, moved his nose and said, "There are 4 people around Sasuke, but they met with 2 other people just now, and now, judging from the smell of blood, the 5 of Sasuke are going farther and farther. It seems that Sasuke really has a helper, and things have become troublesome." Shikamaru groaned. Since there is a smell of blood, then there must be a battle, but Sasuke is about to run out of the country of fire, let's continue to chase Sasuke. The others had no objection after hearing this. Naruto sneered. He knew what was going on, but he didn't care either. He had long been aware of the battle ahead, but he didn't know what the Huo Xuanjian and the parallel life and death had to do with him. Isn't it a stranger? Due to encountering an enemy, The Sasuke 5 Shikamaru they didn't know it was Otonin F4 will definitely strengthen their guards and set up ambushes and traps. Therefore, Shikamaru ordered everyone to proceed cautiously and try to find the enemy before lying in ambush. Soon, they encountered layers of traps from the enemy, and Neji also found Otonin F4 who was resting. Shikamaru led everyone to avoid the traps and approached quietly, but still missed the spider silk alert of the Spider-Man in the sound of Shinobi F4, so that the sound of Shinobu F4 was prepared in advance. Naruto walked among the crowd and didn't tell Shikamaru the information, otherwise, wouldn't it be possible for them to intercept Sasuke? This is not what he wants to see. He decided to play soy sauce first, grab the head at the critical moment, and accumulate some points. Killing Otonin F4, you should get 100 points, which is a lot. By the way, there is Kimimaro. I really want to thank Orochimaru for rushing to give Naruto points and warmth, alas, a good person. Shikamaru had just approached Otonin F4 with everyone, and was thrown in a few detonating charms from Zaken who had been prepared in advance, and had to evade in a panic. Dreams are beautiful, reality is skinny. Shikamaru's plan failed on the spot, and he had to face off with Otonin F4. Fortunately, after a smoke bomb, Shikamaru quietly used shadow mimicry to control the opposite Otonin F4, and the situation immediately improved. However, Otonin F4's ability is very strange. Siamese brothers Niruken, who had already ambushed behind Shikamaru, immediately threw a lot of kunai at Shikamaru. Uken's sneak attack was too sudden, and the rest of the pursuit team had no time to react. Shikamaru had to give up shadow imitation, avoiding the attack of kunai. After all, in the case of using shadow mimicry, his speed will be slower, unless he doesn't care about Kuwu's fatal attack. In this way, the great situation is lost again. Otonin F4 didn't want to waste time, in order to leave as soon as possible, leaving the weakest big fat man to deal with Shikamaru. Earth-style dungeon hall none. The big fat man grinned, and slapped his hands on the ground, and an earthen prison encased everyone. Inuzuka's attack could not break the dungeon at all, and at the same time, everyone discovered that their chakra was being quickly sucked away. Everyone immediately fell into trouble. Naruto sighed helplessly and looked at these guys. Shikamaru, Choji, Neji, Shaoli, Inuzukaya, none of them know how to use the water-style technique. Think about it again, among the Konoha 12 Shaokyangs, only Sasuke and Naruto can escape. It's very scary to think carefully. No, it's very nonsense to think carefully. As long as these people who are trapped know Earth-style ninjutsu, it will be easier to break this dungeon. Naruto had to take a step forward and separated 4 shadow clones, each holding Rasengan, aiming at the dungeon wall in 4 directions and smashing it hard. Boom! The 4 earth walls were smashed through together, and the dungeon collapsed. Not only the big fat guy outside and Shikamaru inside were surprised, but even Naruto was surprised. He intended to find the weak spots in the dungeon just like the original book, but he did not expect Rasengan's power to be a bit beyond his expectation. Well, it's nice to come out so easily anyway. Naruto shrugged and thought. But Fatty Otonin had a lot of power, chakra was a lot, and he immediately launched an attack on everyone. Earth-style ninjutsu attacked everyone one by one, rumbling and shaking the mountain. Everyone can only evade in embarrassment, and it is not easy to get close to each other. Oh, let's go first, I'll deal with him, Naruto said to the panting crowd not far away after hiding from a huge boulder. Naruto, you, Shikamaru started to say something, but was stopped by Naruto, who knew what the other party meant. In the case of a chase mission like this, the weakest one should be left first to delay the enemy and cover the large forces to continue the chase. Among the 6 now, the weakest is obviously not Naruto. It's okay, I am very fast, even if I delay for a while, I can catch up with you, Naruto waved to them and said. Furthermore, no matter who of the 5 of you stays, even if you don't die, you will be seriously injured to the point of hanging. Shikamaru gritted his teeth and looked at his companions around him. After thinking about it quickly, he saw that Naruto had already come forward to meet the big fat man, so he could only turn around and leave with everyone. Naruto smiled at the big fat man and said, "It seems that you are the weakest one in Otonin F4. You have good physical skills, and you have great strength. Just so, let me be a sparring partner, and see how I practiced physical skills during this period." HMPH, yellow-haired kid, you are too arrogant. The big fat man grinned, look how I blast you to death with my fist. Seeing that only Naruto was left alone, the fat man rushed to Naruto's body with his punching bag big fist aimed at Naruto's head and slammed it. Rock strike, whoosh, Naruto shook his body to the right, and then he avoided the opponent's fist. Boom, Naruto's face sank, and the opponent stood there motionless, his attack could not be broken. Worthy of being a big fat man, he is anti-beaten. Seeing Naruto's face, the big fat man gave a grin, and leaned forward with his left hand to grab Naruto's right leg. Naruto reacted immediately and suddenly squatted down, avoiding the opponent's left hand. Then he supported his body with both hands, as taught by Might Guy, using his right leg with all his strength, he hit the opponent's chin from bottom to top. This time, the big fat man's body was finally kicked into the air by him. Immediately afterwards, Naruto's figure quickly jumped upward, exceeding the height of the big fat man in midair. The right leg exerted force again, hit the opponent's abdomen fiercely from top to bottom, pressed the opponent all the time, and fell to the ground at a rapid speed. The lion plays. Boom, the fat man's body hit a big hole directly on the ground. But the next moment, he grabbed Naruto's right leg and threw Naruto away fiercely. Naruto glanced intently, and the big fat man turned, half of his body was covered with curse marks. The big fat man in the first state of curse imprinted his combat power sharply. Naruto slammed forward and kicked it again, but was caught by the opponent. If he hadn't used Flying Thunder God technique decisively to avoid him, he would probably be crushed by the opponent's leg with one hand. Standing again, looking at the fat man with cursed seal not far away, Naruto knew that he could no longer use physical skills to fight him. Oh, it seems that my physical skills are still not good enough, so let's kill you quickly. Naruto took a deep breath and said, Boy, I admit that I despised you just now, but from now on, you can no longer hurt me. The big fat man said confidently. Yes, as soon as the big fat man's voice fell, Naruto's voice appeared behind him, and at the same time, Rasengan in his hand slammed into the back of the opponent fiercely. Boom, the big fat man with his eyes flew straight forward, spinning and breaking several big trees before he stopped. You are so amazing. The big fat man lay on the ground and said with difficulty, but you successfully angered me. I want you to die. After the big fat man finished speaking, he directly turned on the second state of the curse seal, his skin turned dead gray, and his strength skyrocketed again. The big fat man became the big gray fat man. His injury immediately recovered, and his figure flashed before he appeared in front of Naruto, and his right fist hit Naruto severely. Naruto already knew the abilities of the big fat man, and after seeing the big fat man transform again, he had already taken measures. Therefore, the big gray fat man only attacked his shadow clone, and his body was already in the air. Just when the big gray fatty broke his shadow clone, a hurricane fell from the sky and quickly swept the opponent into the air. Countless wind blades are contained in the hurricane, directly slashing the big gray fat man. Boom, the fat man's body fell to the ground, and the dead gray of his whole body faded, revealing the original appearance of the man again. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for killing one of Jonin and earning 100 points. Although Big Fatty's strength may be the weakest in Odonin F4, it is also at the level of Jonin, especially after the transformation of Shuyin. Naruto thought for a while, put the opponent's body into the scroll, then stretched out, rose into the sky, and headed in the direction Shikamaru left. Shikamaru took Neji, Shaoli, Choji, and Inuzukaga to chase Odonin F3, and soon came behind the opponent. Shikamaru turned into a big fat guy and wanted to mix into Odonin F3 and become an idol star, but his scent was too strong and he was noticed. The above are all speculations. In fact, Shikamaru was noticed because his language habits are different from the big fat man. Immediately afterwards, he confronted the Spider-Man who had stayed to stop him. The Spider-Man has 3 arms and he is good at spitting out spider silk that is as hard as a steel wire, and immediately traps Shikamaru with a spider web. Then, Shaoli, Choji, Inazukaya, and Neji's attacks were all avoided by the opponent, and they took the opportunity to trap everyone with a spider web. Just when the Spider-Man was about to kill Shaoli, a hurricane fell from the sky and swept the Spider-Man inside, and countless wind blades began to cut the opponent's body. But the other party actually wrapped the whole body with spider silk, like a cocoon, avoiding the end of the big fat man being cut by thousands of knives. Chakra is mixed into the spider silk, which is very flexible and hard, and the wind blade can't cut the spider silk at all. Suddenly, a thick spider silk rushed out of the range of the hurricane and stuck to the big tree nearby. The Spider-Man immediately rushed out of the hurricane, revealing his true colors again. The strength of the Spider-Man is much stronger than that of the big fat man, you can tell from the trembling appearance of Akamaru. His ability is weird, he can spit spider silk at any time, and the golden hardened version of spider silk is comparable to steel. Spider silk is difficult to pull off with brute force, but it is easily cut off by gentle fist. Mainly because there is flowing chakra in spider silk, gentle fist can cut the flow of chakra inside, because it happens to restrain spider silk. In this way, the chakra knife can also cut the spider silk. Naruto said with a smile, and then directly cut the spider silk covered on the face into thin pieces. The chakra knife can cut through the skin's internal tissues. For example, in the previous Sannin battle, Kabuto used the chakra knife to cut Naruto's heart directly through the skin. Shikamaru, you can take the other people and go first. Again, I am fast, and I will be able to catch up with you soon. Naruto looked at the Spider-Man with scorching eyes, and said without turning his head. In his eyes, the Spider-Man is 100 points. Or I will stay, Neji said suddenly, my gentle fist can also restrain spider silk. No, don't be long-winded, let's go. Naruto waved his hand impatiently. Want to leave, you treat me as a decoration. Spider-Man said arrogantly, none of you can run away. As he said, he spouted several clusters of spider webs, with golden hardened version of spider silk on the head, and they rushed towards everyone. Swish! Naruto waved the chakra knife with both hands, cutting all the spider webs into pieces, and then came behind the Spider-Man in the blink of an eye, and the chakra knife pierced the other's heart. Boom! It was unsuccessful. There was a trace of doubt on Naruto's face. He couldn't remember every detail of the Spider-Man, obviously the other party had other support. At the moment Naruto was stunned, the Spider-Man turned around with a grinning smile, and opened his mouth to spit out a golden hardened version of the spider silk condensed kunai. Try my sticky golden spider silk. Whoosh! Naruto turned into a gust of breeze to avoid him, and looked at the opponent's back intently. After he died, a piece of armor made of sticky golden spider silk was revealed. It seems that the Spider-Man just used this to resist the attack of the chakra knife. It is incredible. What Naruto didn't know was that in the original book, the Spider-Man resisted Neji's 8 trigrams 64 palms with this kind of defense. The Spider-Man sensed Naruto's difficulty, and immediately summoned a huge female spider, producing densely packed small spiders and heading towards Naruto. Naruto was floating in the air, and with a slap of his hands, the hurricane swept countless little spiders in it. So far, the summoning of the Spider-Man was also abolished. After Naruto learned of the Spider-Man's defenses, he stepped behind him again, with yellow hair growing in the wind, and immediately tied the Spider-Man firmly. Chaotic Lion Hair Technique. This is one of the ninjutsu that Naruto has just learned from Jiraiya. Just now, the Spider-Man wanted to tie Naruto with spider silk, but now he is tied with Naruto's hair. What a ridicule. The Spider-Man was shocked and wanted to transform into the second state of curse, but it was too late. Rasengan. Naruto splits out 4 shadow clones, each holding Rasengan slamming against each other's head, neck, heart, and abdomen. Boom boom boom. The highly compressed chakra ball quickly smashed the sticky golden spider silk armor on the surface of the Spider-Man's skin, and then all the Spider-Man's brain, neck, internal organs, etc. were smashed. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for killing one of Jonin and earning 100 points. Ha! Naruto looked at the fallen Spider-Man's corpse, put it away, and said to the system, exchange and use a Bloodline upgrade scroll. Ding dong. Congratulations to host. Sage body of the Senju clan has been upgraded to level 4 God Bloodline. Naruto waited for a while and continued to ask, what can be combined with Uzumaki clan Sage body and Senju clan Sage body that are also God Bloodline? Ding dong. God Bloodline's Uzumaki clan Sage body and Senju clan Sage body can synthesize 2 physiques, and the host can only choose one. 1. The full Sage body of the God level Bloodline level, combined with your own Ashura chakra, can get wood-style blood succession boundary. Second, Shanwa body. The body can automatically absorb natural energy and permanently transform chakra in the body into chakra, using the fairy magic forever without any side effects. Looking at the two different development paths provided by the system, Naruto fell into a deep thought. Wood style, and it is the same wood style as Senju Hashirama, which is naturally quite exciting. Think about the forest and the giant wood in the original book. If you add Susanoo and Prestige Nine Tails, the picture is simply not too beautiful. Even after he gathered the Eternal Mangekyo, Rinnegan came out naturally. This is Madara's dream operation, he will have it so soon. I'm a little excited to think about it. But isn't Shanshu awesome? Sage of Six Paths back then was so awesome, isn't it also necessary to learn fairy skills? If he can successfully seal his mother, I'm afraid he has nothing to do with Shanshu. And it was also said in the original book that only the magic and physical arts can harm Six Paths Madara and Six Paths Obito. This shows the high level of Shanshu. Think about the 3,000-year-old monsters in the three summoning holy lands. If it weren't for immortality, could they live so long? This shows the high potential of Shanshu. If Naruto chooses wood style now, then he will eventually become a pure Otsutsuki tribe, and the ceiling will have been seen, unless he reaches an alien and meets other stronger people. If Naruto chooses Shanwa body now, he will eventually not only have the strength comparable to Otsutsuki, but he may also live longer. After all, Sage of Six Paths is different from Sage of Six Paths, which cannot be maintained forever by studying Shanshu alone. Instead, it changes the energy in one's body from chakra to Shanshu chakra forever. As the energy level increases, the essence of life will also be different. What if the Otsutsuki clan is so awesome? Isn't it still chakra in the body? By then, his Naruto's own energy level is already higher than them. Therefore, Naruto is ready to choose the path of Shanshu and see if future achievements will be higher than the Otsutsuki clan. System: can Shanwa body, Master Yin and Yang escape? Can Sharingan be kept? Ding dong, it's all right. Naruto understood immediately after hearing it. Yin-Yang escape, to be precise, is a kind of skill, and Shanwa body can also learn it. At this time, the system reminded again. Ding dong, it's just that, because of the physical transformation, the skills attached to the sage body of the Uzumaki clan and the sage body of the Senju clan will be removed and replaced with the skills that are attached to the sage body. When Naruto heard it, he was startled and fell silent. The ancillary skills of the Uzumaki sage body are huge chakra volume, adamantine sealing chains, Kagura heart eye, physical healing, and sealing talent. The ancillary skills of the Senju sage body are huge chakra volume, super chakra control, ninjutsu talent, and earth perception. The system is really ruthless. This completely cuts off the possibility of me becoming Otsutsuki. Naruto hesitated in his heart. He had decided to embark on the path of Shanwa body, but he didn't expect to pay such a high price. His current chakra volume has been many times greater than the original. Because Naruto in the original book does not have a pure Uzumaki sage body, it is impossible to enjoy the increase in chakra volume brought by the Uzumaki and Senju sage body as they do now. Naruto in the original book has a huge amount of chakra and good recovery ability, all because of the influence of Nine Tails. In the original work, there was an introduction on the way to the country of waves, and later after Naruto became a beast for many times, there was also a related introduction. If he loses two sage body now, then the amount of chakra in the body returns to the original one, which is not unacceptable. After all, there are still many more than ordinary ninjas. As for ninjutsu talent ability, ding dong, the ninjutsu and the level that the host has learned due to ninjutsu talent will not change. Moreover, Shanwa body also has new additional skills. That's good. So, function body and the ability of one-handed Rasengan are still the same. Naruto let out a long breath, and barely relaxed. After all, what I have learned is imprinted in my memory. I can't erase my memory as well, it's just changing my physique. Naruto once again looked at the system's introduction to fairy body, and his eyes gradually brightened. I saw the additional skills of Shanwa body. 1. Shanshu amplification. Ninjutsu becomes Shanju, and its power increases several times. 2. Physique amplification. Physical strength. speed, mental strength, and reaction ability will all be improved, and as time goes by, they will be improved more and more. There can be growth. 3. Natural perception. Far away, you can perceive any danger and life activities within a radius of several kilometers. Near, you can perceive every subtle movement of the enemy in front of you. 4. Natural healing. Shanshu chakra automatically comes with powerful healing ability. 5. Unique Shanshu. Need to explore by yourself. Similar to the unique celestial ability of each of the 3 holy sites. When Naruto saw the introduction of the additional skills of the spell of the immortal, a kind of ecstasy grew spontaneously. These skills are much stronger than the original sage body incidental skills. The most important thing is that they can grow. As the original book says, the more you use chakra, the more tired you get. That's because chakra is asking for itself. As for Shanshu, the more you use it, the more energetic you are, because it collects energy from the outside world to make up for and strengthen yourself. Sure enough, this is a jump in the essence of energy. If he had known this, why he hesitated for so long? However, he immediately thought of another thing. System, will the Uzumaki sage body possessed by my female avatar disappear? Ding dong. It won't disappear, but it won't get Shanwa body either. Naruto was right when he thought about it. The female avatar was only separated after he obtained the supernatural powers of the avatar outside the body. The difference from Shadow Clone is that once she is separated, she will become a living being, will die, but will not dissipate like Shadow Clone, and naturally will not return to the body. Of course, the female avatar is completely controlled by the ontology, and the character and thought are the same as the ontology. This is like Shadow Clone. In general, this is like the second incarnation in the Fairy Shaw novels of previous lives. System, can you synthesize spelling body now? Ding dong. Synthesis requires 200 points to exchange for a blood synthesis scroll and currently has 130 points. Naruto's face collapsed when he heard it. After talking for a long time, I can't redeem it yet. But you don't have to wait too long, just kill Mad with another sound. Thinking of this, Naruto walked away from the wind and quickly walked towards Shikamaru and the others from a high altitude. Shikamaru's group quickly caught up with Otonin F2 again, Sakin and Tayuya. Unlike the original, this time Shikamaru took almost everyone, including Neji, Xiaoli, Inuzukaga and Choji, as well as Naruto who was coming. But at the same time, as the time of Sasuke's defection has been advanced, the timeline has also changed. For example, Kimimaro arrived early, and Otonin F2 merged, and continued to rush back to Orochimaru with the barrel, and Sasuke was about to break out of the barrel. According to Shikamaru's tactical plan, Xiaoli, Neji, and Choji went after Kimimaro who had taken Sasuke's barrel. Inuzukaga dragged Nakin, Shikamaru dragged Tayuya, while waiting for Naruto's support. When Naruto discovered the fighting between Inuzuka and Shikamaru from high above, Inuzuka had been severely injured by Sakin and Ukin. Shikamaru was also embarrassed to avoid the 3 ugly monsters from Tayuya's summoning. At the same time, he suddenly felt that, just like in the original book, Tsunagaku's Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari were rushing to support. HMPH, it seems that Tsunade doesn't trust me, so he asked Tsunagaku for help. Naruto snorted and muttered, but, no one wants to take my head. Naruto directly separated 10 shadow clones to deal with the Zakon brothers. The body floated in midair at night, pointed at the 3 giant monsters. Dozens of wind blades quickly came to the opponent, and cut the 3 giant monsters into several segments. Seeing this, Tayuya was shocked, raised his head and looked up, and immediately opened the second state of the curse seal, put the flute to his mouth, and then released the voice illusion to Naruto and Shikamaru. Naruto subconsciously wanted to release ninjutsu to counterattack, but with a look, he plunged himself into illusion. Illusion arts generally work through the 5 senses. The most troublesome is the sound illusion, which has a long attack range, and the non-sensing ninja cannot determine the location of the caster. Even if the ears are blocked, the sound illusion can still affect the spirit through the bone conduction and water conduction in the enemy's body. Now, Naruto felt that his body could no longer move anymore. He was still conscious, but he just couldn't control his body. In fact, his body has already begun to fall downward. It turns out that this is sound illusion. Naruto thought so, and suddenly his eyes flashed, and Mangekyo Sharingan turned on and off instantly, successfully cracking the sound illusion. Taiyu was still playing the flute, but caught off guard Naruto's voice illusion that Naruto had broken, and also saw Mangekyo Sharingan at the same time. What are you doing? Tayuya was shocked, he couldn't think that Naruto also had Sharingan. Isn't this the power that Orochimaru-sama has always longed for? Doesn't it mean that only Sasuke in Konoha village has Sharingan? Tayuya hurriedly played the flute again, increasing the power of voice illusion. Ha ha, Naruto sneered, and slapped both hands, and a hurricane formed out of thin air and swept towards Tayuya. Tayuya's illusion is spread around through sound, that is, air vibration, but Naruto's hurricane directly disturbs the surrounding air. No matter how powerful the voice illusion of Tayuya was, it was of no avail. Instead, he was quickly swept in by the hurricane, and was killed by countless wind blades. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for killing one of Jonin and rewarding 100 points. With regard to the experience of sound illusion, Naruto suddenly felt a unique feeling in his heart. At the same time, 10 shadow clones also came to Inuzuka's side. The strength of Zakon lies mainly in the cooperation with Ukin in the body and the recovery ability of Pervert. The method of combat is mainly melee physique and Ukin's cell fusion assassination. Coincidentally, Naruto also completely restrained him. 10 shadow clones spurred the hurricane at the same time, and countless wind blades cut the bodies of the brothers Zoko and Yoshi into several sections. No matter how strong his recovery ability is, he can't die again. Judging from the battle against the Tayuya and Sakin brothers, how useful a powerful mage is. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for killing one of Jonin and rewarding 100 points. At this point, Otonin F4 was completely destroyed in Naruto's hands. After solving the last 2 Otonin killing mat, Naruto didn't immediately redeem Spelling Body but decided to earn Kimamaro's 100 points first. When Naruto arrived, Kimamaro had already begun to show off, and the big wooden barrel where Sasuke was in started to emit purple smoke, which was about to burst out. Kimamaro was already seriously ill at this time, and the lamp was dead, and he was able to fight smoothly, completely relying on a strong spiritual will. Several blood holes had been poked out of Choji's body, and he fainted. Shaoli broke out into the 8 inner gates and besieged Kimamaro with Neji. The 3 powerful ninjas fought extremely fiercely and dangerously. But Kimamaro's blood inheritance limit is too pervert, and the dense bone spikes all over his body make him look like a hedgehog, causing Shaoli's steel punches to constantly beat the bones, and Neji's gentle fist can't hit his body. As a result, the battle soon became one-sided. Kimamaro chased Shaoli and Neji when he turned on the first state of the curse. The two could only dodge and defend in a panic, occasionally relying on Neji's revolving heaven to avoid a fatal blow. Hurricane. A hurricane suddenly fell from the sky, whizzing around Kimamaro who was caught off guard, and the wind blade slashed Kimamaro in the hurricane. But the imaginary flying flesh and blood did not appear. Kimamaro's body exposed a layer of white bone armor, which protected him tightly. Seeing this, Naruto knew that it was impossible to kill him even if it had been consumed like this, so with a wave of his right hand, a huge wind blade quickly smashed into Kimamaro's head. Boom! Kimamaro suffered a head injury and was knocked to the ground from a high altitude. Under these two kinds of attacks, even if Kimamaro's body is strong, a mouthful of blood spurted out, making his seriously ill body worse. However, in order to complete Orochimaru's mission before his death, Kimamaro made another allegiance to Orochimaru and decisively opened the second state of the curse. His body turned dead gray, and the thick bones on his back stood up. The most shocking thing was a huge tail sticking out behind him. These make him look like a humanoid Spinosaurus. Kimamaro looked up at Naruto high in the air with an uncomfortable face, and suddenly pointed at Naruto with his 10 fingers. Seeing this, Naruto raised his brows and waved his right hand, and a gale blew 10 bones in other directions. Then he made a knife with both hands, swinging and slashing at Kimamaro on the ground from the air, and at the same time, a huge wind blade slashed at him. Kimamaro frowned, his body dodges left and right, jumping up and down, easily avoiding all wind blades. This continued for 5 minutes, and the wind blade still couldn't hurt Kimamaro. Gone. Kimamaro is so strong. Seeing this, Naruto could not help cursing. What should I do to kill him? While Naruto was thinking about how to kill Kimimaro, Sasuke finally broke out. Shikamaru and Inuzuka also just rushed over. Sasuke looked around coldly, and when he saw Naruto in the sky, he couldn't help but snorted, and then ran towards Tanokuni without hesitation. Sasuke! Shikamaru shouted loudly. But when Sasuke heard the sound, his body didn't even stop, instead he gave a cold snort and ran faster. In his opinion, Konoha village is a place that has been abandoned. Everything is the past. There is only revenge in his heart, even if he is thrown into the arms of the devil. But what he didn't know was that Orochimaru didn't plan to train Sasuke for 3 years first, whether it was the original or now. Instead he was ready to take possession of his body directly. However, it was precisely because of the pursuit and involvement of the people in Konoha village that Sasuke could not reach Orochimaru in time. Orochimaru suffered from the cursed seal of his two-handed soul, and had reached ultimate, and had to cast living corpse reincarnation in advance. This took possession of the body of Wanyumaru, allowing Sasuke to escape, until 3 years later, living corpse reincarnation (SCD) cooling time expired. I don't know if Sasuke knows all of this. Even if he did, he probably wouldn't care about it. It can only be said that the second pillar is the second pillar, and the second. Seeing Sasuke fled, Shikamaru immediately led several others to continue the pursuit, leaving Naruto again to drag the enemy. Kimimaro saw that this was about to stop, but was separated by a hurricane, and then raised his head angrily to look at Naruto in the sky. The current situation is that neither Naruto nor Kimimaro can hurt each other, and neither can take each other. Alas, Kimimaro is flexible and defensive against pervert. Even Gaara's Sand Waterfall Funeral in the original book can withstand it. Even if I involve him in a hurricane again, I am afraid it will not help. Naruto frowned and thought. He realized that his current wind-style ninjutsu power was still too weak, or maybe he hadn't fully exploited it. If there is a wind-style spiral shuriken, then Kimimaro certainly cannot bear it. Of course, the premise is to be able to hit the opponent. If I have Shanju and increase the power of ninjutsu, I am afraid I can also eliminate Kimimaro. Naruto continued to think about his current strength, and at the same time separated a shadow clone, and took Choji who had fainted to a distance for treatment. Finally, when he repeatedly confirmed that there was no one around him, his eyes suddenly changed to the appearance of 8-pointed stars, and the Mangekyo ability in his left eye was activated. Time accelerates. Naruto's speed suddenly reached ultimate, and his figure seemed to be teleporting to Kimimaro from a high altitude. His speed was so fast that there was still his afterimage in the sky, and Kimimaro didn't react at all, and the blue Rasengan stuck on his face. No matter how powerful Kimimaro's bone armor is, his mouth, eyes and nose are definitely not covered. And Rasengan's high-speed rotation force directly twisted Kimimaro's eyeballs, nasal cavity, and mouth, and continued to extend into the brain, twisting part of the brain into a paste. No matter how strong Kimimaro's will is, it is impossible to control a corpse in battle, right? So Kimimaro was killed by Naruto with Mangekyo. It's also considered dead. Naruto's Mangekyo is not as terrifying as Amaterasu, nor does it directly attack the enemy's spirit like Tsukuyomi, nor does it have to break his arms and legs like Kamui. His Mangekyo is mainly auxiliary, but involves the most mysterious time ability. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for killing one of Jonin and rewarding 100 points. Naruto closed Mangekyo Sharingan, rubbed his uncomfortable left eye with his hand, and then sealed Kimimaro's body in the scroll. Just opening Mangekyo a bit, his eyes became a little uncomfortable. This is still his reaction to having Sage body now. I hope that after having Shanwa body, you can continue to alleviate the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan. At this time, the 3 Gaara who came to support finally arrived. The difference from the original book is that in the previous Chunin exam, Naruto didn't use his mouth to persuade Gaara to congregate. Instead, the female avatar took him to the center of Konoha village, releasing the one-tail Shuhei in his body, allowing Shuhei to ravage Konoha village. Afterwards, Gaara was imprisoned by Konoha for a period of time until Tsunagakure surrendered. Therefore, Gaara still has that bloodthirsty character, but it is a little better under Tsunagakure education, but he still regards Naruto as his opponent. What about the enemy? Gaara asked, looking at Naruto coldly. Dead, Naruto said with a grinning look at Gaara. You killed it. Where is Sasuke? Our Shikamaru of Konoha village has led people to chase it. Can you Konoha village ninjas? Ha, let's hurry over. Gaara calmly said sarcastically. Oh, I don't care about Konoha village, I only know that I am better than you. Naruto shrugged. You. Gaara wanted to say something more, but was interrupted by Temari next to her. Gaara, we came here today to support Konoha, not for conflict. Temari cautiously persuaded. Gaara glanced at Naruto coldly, and moved towards Sasuke's escape direction based on the traces on the ground. Naruto perceives the situation in the distance. Sasuke has been stopped by Shikamaru and they are confronting each other. Now there are 3 more powerful ninjas from Gaara joining. Can Sasuke get to Orochimaru smoothly? After all, I have become the biggest variable. Naruto thought dumbfounded. Whether Sasuke could reach Orochimaru smoothly this time, Naruto didn't care, he had already let Sasuke off in Konoha village once. Now, what he thought was that Orochimaru estimated that there was no strong combat power available. After all, even the actor Kabuto had already been killed by Naruto. Should I stop blackmailing Orochimaru? No, how can this be a blackmail? It should be for Orochimaru to take the initiative to hire me once. I must always be paid, right? Naruto made up his mind and smiled. In the dense forest of Tianjiguo, a red-haired masked female avatar wearing a black-bottomed red cloud cloak is sitting in a tree hole to rest. She wears a peculiar ring on her right hand, her fingernails are painted red, and a black snake is sitting on her shoulder, lazily spitting out a snake letter. Although she has joined the Akatsuki organization, she doesn't need to stay in Rain Shinobi Village when she doesn't have a mission, and she doesn't want to be with her teammate, Afei. That's right, in order to monitor her, who is of unknown origin, Obito personally left the field early and formed a team with her under the pseudonym Afei. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure wearing a black cloak appeared behind the female avatar. The little black snake wanted to attack the uninvited guest, but was clasped by the female avatar. Is there white Zetsu around? There was one before. After being killed by me, it never appeared again. You don't have white Zetsu spores on your body, right? No, I checked it carefully. That's good. As he said, the black cloak was put down, revealing Naruto's face, and he continued to ask, has Orochimaru's stronghold been found? Found it. The female avatar nodded and continued. I first found the traces of Otonin F4 and Kimimaro when they went out, and then I followed the vines, plus my perception and the Raichi cave snake's perception, and then I discovered where Orochimaru is. I am afraid it will be difficult for Sasuke to reach Orochimaru smoothly. Go and ask Orochimaru. If you help me, let him exchange a lot of wind, thunder, earth, fire, water-style scrolls. Naruto continued laughingly. In order to pursue the truth, Orochimaru collected a lot of ninjutsu scrolls in his early years. I will learn more about ninjutsu while that ninjutsu talent ability of sage body of the Senju family is still there. The female avatar nodded after hearing this. What if Orochimaru doesn't need to help? Haha, then I will tie Sasuke back personally and let Orochimaru go dumbfounded. Naruto pretended to be seriously injured and staggered to the front battlefield. Shikamaru's group and Gaara are besieging Sasuke, who has turned on the second state of curse, and their strength is basically equal. But obviously, Sasuke's body is still unable to adapt to the power of the curse seal, and he can't hold on anymore. After all, Sasuke is not as strong as it will be 3 years later. Naruto looked at Sasuke, chuckled, and couldn't help laughing. Thinking about this life, Sasuke seems to have never won a battle since graduation, right? It used to be, it is now, and I am afraid it will still be in the future. He was really sad, and Naruto felt sorry for Sasuke for 3 seconds. At this time, Sasuke was annoyed. Although the power in his body was fascinated by the continuous flow of power, the few people besieging him in front of him looked like a tide, repelling one wave after another, and the methods were endless. Shadow, gentle fist, steel fist, sand, gale, puppet. Taking a deep breath, Sasuke's expression is grim, his teeth clenched, a black Chidori burst out of his right hand, and the blood-red Sharingan burst into anger, and his body rushed towards Gaara extremely fast. Gaara hugged her arms and looked at Sasuke rushing calmly. The sand in front of him had already condensed. When he was about to stop Sasuke, Sasuke suddenly disappeared. Boom! Sasuke's real goal is actually Neji. Neji didn't react in time. He had only time to avoid the heart attack, and his abdomen was pierced by 1,000 birds. Boom! Neji fell to the ground, and Sasuke turned and ran. HMPH, now you can't keep finding my traces. Sasuke snorted, running faster and faster. Shikamaru looked anxious. Inuzuka's Akamaru had been injured by the second brother before and could not chase Sasuke. Yeah, can you still track Sasuke? Shikamaru asked eagerly. Short distance is fine, long distance is not as good as Akamaru. Inuzuka said with a wry smile. Naruto, since you are also injured, stay and take care of Neji. Xiao Li, and Tsunagakure 3 continued to pursue Sasuke. Shikamaru quickly made arrangements, greeted the three of Gaara, and hurried forward. Now, only Naruto and Neji are left. Looking at the wound on Neji's abdomen, Naruto couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This guy is also a bitter and hated lord. And the ending is the worst. You said, Konoha 12 newcomers, if you agree to be Shaokyang together, why did you die in the end? Are you not a real cockroach? Haha, Naruto teased as he healed Neji's injuries. With his medical ninjutsu and physical healing ability, it is absolutely no problem to save Neji's life, and it is only a matter of time before he can be cured. At this time, Neji's forehead protector slipped, and Naruto couldn't help but move as he looked at the unidentified curse mark on the opponent's forehead. Like Gaara, the current Neji hasn't been discouraged by me. There must be hatred of the clan in his heart and resentment of fate. Why don't you help him untie the caged bird curse and earn him? Orochimaru has trained the movie stars Kabuto, Kimimaro and Oton in F4, I can also have a few subordinates. Furthermore, Neji is also very talented, and it is still possible to become a quasi-cage level powerhouse after 3 years. Whether it is Naruto or the female avatar, there is a superb level of seal talent. You only need to redeem curse mark, caged bird, from the system once, and you should be able to figure it out and crack it. Next, find an opportunity to tell him. When Naruto made up his mind, the treatment was over. Neji opened his eyes, saw Naruto in front of him, frowned, and said coldly, "Thank you." "Oh, it's okay, it just happens that I know medical ninjutsu." Naruto smiled and said, "Say, Sasuke is really strong again, why are you so careless that he was beaten like this?" "Huh," Neji snorted coldly, pushed Naruto away, stood up, and ran in the direction where Shikamaru had left. Both he and Sasuke are newcomers in various classes, 1 year older than Sasuke, self-proclaimed geniuses, and self-taught the secret of the family revolving heaven. Now, Sasuke almost killed him. Fate, why is it so unfair to me? Or is it all destined? Neji thought sadly in his heart, and couldn't help clenching his fists. While Sasuke was still running away alone, somewhere in the dense forest of Tanokuni ahead, the female avatar walked in the damp and dark underground stronghold, avoiding one trap after another. The sound of pattering footsteps echoed in the deadly corridor. "You really have a ghost." Orochimaru's hoarse voice suddenly sounded, like a ghost in this deadly stronghold. "I'm here to tell you bad news," the female avatar said with a grin. "What's the news?" Orochimaru asked coldly, his tone full of solemnity. "If you can't satisfy me, I don't mind killing you. Even if you have flying thunder god technique, I can do it." "Haha, Orochimaru, don't talk big and do it." The female avatar laughed loudly. "Come on, let me see what you are now, is it another body?" "I don't know what you are talking about, my body is not what you saw back then." Orochimaru's tone did not fluctuate at all. "Well, okay, then let me ask, do you know a guy named Wanyuan?" "I've seen him before," the female avatar continued provocatively. "Manumaru is the original owner of the body that Orochimaru just occupied." Orochimaru's heart trembled, and a terrifying giant python rushed out from the darkness ahead, opened its fishy mouth and bit at the female avatar. Its speed was so fast that it did not give the female avatar a chance to escape backwards. "Ha!" The Kusunaru sword appeared in front of the female avatar, and the extremely sharp and hard blade split the giant python into two from the head. Blood and internal organs immediately covered the entire passage. The smell of blood is pungent. "Orochimaru, it's best for you to go through the period of weakness just now, living corpse reincarnation, otherwise I don't mind killing you," the female avatar said seriously. It's not that she has never considered killing Orochimaru, but this guy has too many ways to save his life, as if he can never kill. Isn't it also strong in the original book after the Fourth World War? So, continued to squeeze Orochimaru. You seem to know me very well, is there your spy next to me? Orochimaru asked suspiciously with a murderous temper. He knew that since the female avatar understood his weakness, but hadn't done it yet, then he would definitely not kill him again. Yes, my spy is called Storyline. The female avatar replied confidently. HMPH, Orochimaru won't believe the nonsense of the female avatar at all. The truth, what are you going to tell me? I'm afraid Sasuke won't be able to come to you here, the female avatar said jokingly. Orochimaru fell silent. He didn't ask why, but he could guess a little. It was nothing more than Kimimaro was dead, and the ninja he was chasing was too powerful. What do you want from me this time? Orochimaru asked hoarsely for a while. The female avatar was right. He who had just occupied a new body was in a period of weakness, half of his body was still wrapped in bandages. The female avatar doesn't know why Orochimaru wraps the bandage. I am very interested in all kinds of escape techniques. The female avatar smiled. HMPH, I am afraid that the person who is interested is not you. Orochimaru sneered, is he also interested in the truth of this world? Ha, he just wants to learn more escape techniques. The female avatar replied. Besides, he is the truth. Shikamaru and Gaara are chasing after Sasuke, and they have to catch Sasuke. Poor Sasuke's body hadn't adjusted to the state of the curse, and she began to weaken gradually and was soon overtaken by Shikamaru. Why bother to hinder me? Do you want me to go back to Konoha village to play with you? Sasuke yelled at Shikamaru angrily. You don't know what I went through, you don't know what I am going to do next. Shikamaru sighed and said helplessly. Well, although I don't like you very much, you are our companion. Moreover, this is my first mission as Chunin. Sasuke, Orochimaru is too evil, youth should be righteous. Xiao Li also persuaded. Now you are better off, we will definitely bring you back to Konoha. Inazukaya said with a cold snort. Sasuke's face was ugly, he didn't expect that he had reached this point, and he still had to fail. At this moment, flocks of white birds suddenly flew down from the sky, and quickly rushed towards Shikamaru and Gaara. Seeing this, Shikamaru, Gaara and others immediately avoided or shot down Shiratori. Art as an explosion. Boom. The white bird immediately exploded, and the huge impact knocked everyone to the ground. A black and gold rope stretched down from the sky, suddenly tied Sasuke firmly, and then swished him to the big white bird in the sky. Sasuke looked at the red-haired masked woman who had rescued him on the big bird, and asked coldly, are you from Orochimaru? No, I just made a deal with the guy Orochimaru. The female avatar turned her head and said with a grin, Orochimaru is really willing to pay for you. On the ground, several people from Shikamaru watched Sasuke disappear into the sky in the big white bird. Naruto was late, and when he heard the news, he slapped his thigh. Oh, what a pity. I should have come here soon. Who would have thought that there is such a powerful ninja in the ninja world, who can fly by birds? After everyone returned to Konoha village in frustration, they began their lives, practice, and tasks. Except for the little Sakura, everyone left Sasuke behind. Although 5th Hokage Tsunade did not regard Sasuke as a traitor for some reason, everyone knows that Sasuke is already a traitor. The next time I meet, it must be a meeting with swordsmen. Who is Orochimaru? Killed 3rd Hokage, caused the destruction of a small half of Konoha and the death of a large number of ninjas and civilians. Sasuke actually took refuge in this guy. Who still thinks he is a Konoha shinobi? Who still recognizes him as a companion? Except for the little Sakura. Little Sakura is very sad and looks lonely every day. This is true love. Naruto was speechless when she saw her, and when she didn't have the thought of saying hello, he ignored her. Because he still has his own things to do, the large amount of escape scrolls he got from Orochimaru still needs him to learn. Fortunately, with the ninjutsu talent ability of Sage Body of Senju clan, he learns very fast. Even with A-level ninjutsu, he can get started quickly. After he flipped through all the escape scrolls, Jiraiya came back. Yo West. Jiraiya greeted him slyly, and then sat on the windowsill of Naruto's house. He seemed to like sitting on the windowsill, even in Hokage's office. I came here today to tell you something important. Jiraiya's face suddenly became serious, which made Naruto a little uncomfortable. From today, you will become my official disciple. I will spend 3 years to make you a stronger ninja. Jiraiya paused and saw that Naruto didn't have any doubts to ask him, and could only continue to say. I got some information from the Shao organization. They will look at you next time. It may be 3 or 4 years from now, but it's not certain. So, next I will go to carefully investigate Akatsuki's information, and when I come back, I will take you to practice, including going to Mount Myoboku to get acquainted with all kinds of toads. Jiraiya said goodbye and left. Naruto muttered silently, covering his forehead. After talking for a long time, you will have to wait a long time before you can take me to practice, but it's just right. I can use the wind, thunder, earth, fire and water style more master to make plans for the future. Naruto's plan is to exchange from the system something like Thunder God's body, Earth God's body and so on. The next step is to redeem the Shanwa body. Shanshu can increase the power of the escape technique several times. How can it not be used properly? The strongest mage. Not only that, because in the future I will also learn wind-style spiral shuriken, lightning-style Rasengan, fire-style Rasengan and so on. There is also physical training, 8 inner gates. This is the best combination with my Mangekyo Sharingan. The above is Naruto's preliminary plan. He not only wants to develop according to the original work, but also to bring forth the new with all-round strength and embark on the path of a stronger one. Not only Naruto started practicing, but the other, Xiaoqiang, did the same. However, because Konoha village is in a special period in which ninjas are urgently needed, their leader Jonin is frequently performing tasks, so only a small group of 3 people can practice by themselves. As for the young Sakura, she tried to find Sasuke out of the village alone, but Anbu stopped him. Then, after a lesson from Tsunade, he made up his mind to worship Tsunade as his teacher and get Tsunade's legacy. It was a blessing in disguise. In this way, the 7th class is almost dead in name. Kakashi has been on missions outside, and no ghost can be seen. As a newly promoted Chunin with the strength of Jonin, Naruto was quickly assigned a mission during the special period when Konoha village was in urgent need of ninjas. The next morning when he returned to Konoha village, he was called to Hokage's office. What? Protect the movie heroine Shui Wei from going to Snow Country to make a movie. Naruto looked at the task report in his hand and said in surprise. In the original book, this is the Snow Country mission performed by Kakashi with the 7th squad. I didn't expect it to start now. It may be related to his butterfly. Which genin are you going to take to perform this task this time? Tsunade asked with a basketball in his arms. Naruto thought for a while, then smiled and replied, then Hinata and Neji. Are you sure you want to bring 2 Hyuga ninjas? Is the ability repeated? Tsunade asked suspiciously. Well, this mission should be easy for me. These 2 people have a good relationship with me, so I think they are going out to meet the world together. Naruto replied with a grin. After getting the mission scroll and the certificate of leaving the village, Naruto personally came to inform Hinata. As for Neji, he arranged for a shadow clone to go. Hinata's wife has always worked very hard in her practice, but unfortunately her temper is too weak and her strength has always been very ordinary. Hinata, I'm here to save you. Naruto looked at Hinata who was practicing with a smile and shouted, while admiring the figure of the future wife. Kawaii and has the potential to become Tsunade. So, you can't let it go anyway. Snow Country mission. Think of it as traveling with your daughter-in-law's public funds. Yukie is a very beautiful female star with great acting skills. Naruto was a little stunned when she saw her. Fortunately, the little hand in his hand reminded him that he is a family member. Seeing Hinata next to him peeking at Yukie in a shameless manner, Naruto touched her soft hair amusedly. Shuihui's true identity is the princess of the Snow Country. Unfortunately, more than 10 years ago, her uncle Fenghua Rage initiated the transformation and killed her father. Fortunately, Kakashi was there, protecting the young Yukie and successfully escaping. The client of this mission is Mitsuo Asama, Yukie's manager, and a loyal minister of the Snow Country. Isshin wants to help Yukie regain the righteousness. It just so happened that this time the film crew was going to the Snow Country to shoot, and Mita-Asama commissioned Konoha shinobi to protect Yukie, and took the opportunity to defeat Feng Hua and regain the right to the right. However, Shui Wei is not a fool. She is unwilling to return to the sad land of Snow Country, and she has no confidence in regaining righteousness. As a result, she began to escape in every possible way. Up and down, ups and downs. Naruto hugged Shui from behind, and said helplessly, "Hey, I said, if you don't stop, I can only use it. Go away. I don't want to go to Snow Country." Yukie raised her whip and beat Naruto backwards. Snapped. Naruto lifted Yuki from the horse, and then held the horse's rein with one hand. Only then did Hinata and Neji catch up from behind. Seeing Yukie struggling in her arms, Naruto slapped her on the neck, making her faint, then threw it directly on the back of the horse, leading the horse to the boat by the sea. The big ship set sail. Not long after, it was stopped by an Iceland. The director saw this and decided to shoot a scene here first. Shuehui also appeared on Iceland as the heroine. "Hinata, see where the enemy is hidden." Naruto stepped on Iceland and said to Hinata with a smile. "Huh, there is an enemy." Hinata was taken aback, and quickly reacted, opening Byakugan and looking around. "Yes, there are 3 enemies hiding at 1, 3, and 10 o'clock. Hinata's tone was a little surprised. She couldn't figure out why she would encounter a ninja enemy. Isn't this a normal crew? Is it because of Sister Yukie? But she is so beautiful and so popular, who would kill her? Neji, who was next to him, snorted coldly when he saw this, and he was immediately ready for battle. Sure enough, when the crew just started filming, there were 3 loud bangs, and the 3 Schwerin came out of the hiding place. "Welcome to the Snow Country. I have been waiting here for a long time, little Snow Princess. Have you brought the hexagonal crystal?" Haha, Konoha actually only sent 3 little ghosts over to send him to death. Naruto looked at the 3 of them and smiled disdainfully. The 3 Chunin dare to come here and shout. "Hinata, Neji, you go and stop 1 person each." Yeah, Hinata agreed and rushed to the nearest Yukonin. Neji also picked a fat Schwerin and rushed over. Only the last leading ninja was left, which seemed to be called Longfang Zubang or something. "Boy, you are their captain. You just became Chunin, right?" Lenya Zubang looked at Naruto disdainfully. "Oh, it seems that you will not only betray, but also count." Naruto sneered unceremoniously. "You wanna die." Avalanche of Longfang gave a low cry, and his hands were imprinted, and groups of ice wolves formed quickly, swooping down from the cliff, and submerged Naruto in the blink of an eye. Naruto. Seeing this, Hinata in the distance yelled miserably, her small face full of grief. Bing Dun Yan Chushui. A group of ice swallows danced towards Hinata. Boom 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 boom. Caught off guard, Nuki Shinobu knocked Hinata into the distance with one blow. A mouthful of blood spurted from Hinata's mouth, but she still staggered up, not seeing the approaching female Schwerin, and ran to the ice wolves frantically. "Idiot," Neji snorted coldly, both to Naruto and Hinata. "Aren't you very strong? Why did you die so soon?" Neji still had a grudge about Naruto's defeat of him during the Chunin exam. However, despite such lowly cursing, Neji stepped forward to support Hinata, and after a revolving heaven used revolving heaven to prevent Hinata from being directly killed by Yukonin. "Ha, it's really a kid," Lenya Zubang sneered, and walked directly to Shuehui who was standing in the same place blankly. "Little Snow Princess, come with me, your uncle misses you so much." Fang Shuebang smiled grinningly and pulled Shuehui. The uncle in his mouth was the one who had initiated the anger of Feng Hua and became the king of the Kingdom of Snow. Shuehui coldly looked at the approaching Spike Shuebao, her eyes as if she was looking at a dead person. She has a cold tone, like this Iceland. "Originally, I just wanted to play a game with you, but I didn't expect you to hurt my woman." "What do you mean?" Lenya Zubang's hand reaching Shuehui in front of her suddenly froze, her expression uncertain. "I mean, you are all going to die." Shuehui looked angry, and his right hand Rasengan slammed into Spike Shui's chest, smashed his chakra armor, and directly crushed his heart. Pity him, an elite Chunin, but he didn't even leave a last word. The female Schwerin and fat Schwerin in the distance suddenly looked surprised, mixed with disbelief. The strength of Spike Avalanche was already very powerful in their eyes, and he was wearing a new style chakra armor with amazing defensive power. How could he be killed by a kid? And you, Naruto said to Nuki Shinobu, it was she who hurt Hinata and wanted to kill Hinata. Nu Shui endured her heart beating wildly, feeling that death was about to fall on her, and hurriedly unfolded the wings behind the chakra armor and flew into the sky. Chakra armor can not only increase the power of ninjutsu, resist a certain degree of escape, illusion, and physical attacks, but also have a variety of peculiar ninjutsu functions. Ha, is it great to fly? Even if you fly to the end of the world, I will kill you. As Naruto said, he first separated a shadow clone to heal Hinata, then jumped up and flew into the air with a swish, kicking the female Yuki from top to bottom. Boom! Nu Shui fell to the ground fiercely, and just when she was about to get up again, a blue Rasengan stuck to her face. The brain burst, spread out like a watermelon. The rest of Pang Shui endured this, and was stunned for a moment, then turned and ran back. Go to hell! Naruto gave a low cry, slashing with both hands, and slashed at him far away. I saw dozens of huge wind blades appearing behind Fat Schwerin out of thin air, slashing at the opponent. No matter how good the chakra armor is, it is impossible to resist the shock of so many wind blades on the internal organs at the same time. Fat Schwerin was beaten heavily on the ground, and immediately lost his breath. Ding dong! Congratulations to host for killing 3 Chunin and earning 30 points. Naruto didn't have time to pay attention to the system prompts and immediately came to Hinata. Fortunately, after Shadow Clone's treatment, Hinata's injuries have basically recovered. Sorry, Hinata, I should tell you about my plan in advance. Naruto held Hinata's little hand and said apologetically. He thought of Hinata's anxiety and grief after seeing his death just now, and when he remembered the same performance of Hinata when pain severely injured Naruto in the original work, a warm current surged in Naruto's heart. Hinata, I won't hurt you again, Naruto said, leaving a flying thunder god mark on Hinata's right hand. Naruto-kun, I'm fine, mainly because I thought Naruto-kun was injured, so. Hinata blushed, feeling the warmth of her right hand, and her words were uncomfortable. After killing the 3 enemies on Iceland, everyone understood Shueihui's true identity. Under Midao Asama's explanation, he also learned that he wanted to help Yukie regain the righteousness. Naruto-kun, I know that Konoha was concealed in this mission, it was mine. In the remote cabin, Sante Asama knelt in front of Naruto and pleaded. But I really can't help it. If I told the truth from the beginning, Konoha village would definitely not be involved in this kind of thing. Naruto knew what Santa Fu meant. Konoha village, as the military force of the Nation of Fire, if it blatantly participates in the positive changes of a certain country, it will definitely arouse dissatisfaction from other countries. Even war may break out. Especially for the weak Konoha village, it is impossible to accept this kind of task. However, Naruto did not immediately refuse at this time. He pondered for a while, and finally made up his mind. After sensing that there was no one around him, he asked, what can I get for helping you? This. Santeifu didn't know how to answer for a moment. He is just a minister, how could he immediately make up his mind for Shui Wei? However, considering the strength of Naruto just now, the Santa Fu gritted his teeth and said, what do you want? Hey, do you think that if Snow Country wants to stop being seized by others, does it need to build a snow ninja village? Naruto straightforwardly continued. I want to control Snow Ninja Village and the development and production of chakra armor. Are you afraid of being discovered by Konoha village by doing this? Asked the Santa Fu doubtfully. I'll let some of my companions come over, she doesn't belong to any ninja village yet. Naruto said, staring at Santeifu with piercing eyes. After hesitating, the Santa Fu finally nodded and agreed. In fact, this is a win-win situation, because Naruto is right. If the Snow Country wants not to be seized or invaded, then it is necessary to establish its own Snow Ninja Village. Would you rest assured if someone else takes control of Snow Ninja Village? It's better to ask Naruto, who knows his roots, and is powerful. At least Naruto has a clear identity and is a ninja in Konoha village. Besides, the gains and losses of the above benefits are aside for the time being. If the Santa Fu does not agree now, they will not even have the hope of regaining the righteousness of the Snow Country. He will even be killed immediately by Fenghua and Rage. The arrow is on the string, I have to send it. But, can you make a decision for Yukie? Naruto asked playfully. The current Princess Shuihui has not regained the confidence and plan to regain the righteousness. I am afraid that she will not pay attention to your request. The Santa Fu gritted his teeth and continued, after we succeed, I will slowly persuade her. After all, she is just a girl. Oh, Naruto looked at Santa Fu with a playful look, then he smiled and said nothing. If Shuihui and Santa Fu go back in the future, he has a way to get them to agree. After all, power is the truth. Next, after the ship continued to travel for an hour, the film crew officially boarded the land of Snow Country, and the crew began to seize the time to shoot again. Naruto looked at the train tunnel that was not far away, and raised his brow. Sure enough, in less than 2 minutes, the roar of a train came from the tunnel, and a train track suddenly appeared on the ground. This is a train track that will only appear after importing chakra. It is specially developed to adapt to the freezing environment of the Snow Country. Santa Fu explained to Naruto and the others. It can only be said that there are really many black technologies in the Snow Country, but the biggest black technology is still in the end. The roaring train is naturally not a friend, but a special train for wind, flowers and raging waves. Seeing this, the Santa Fu immediately ran to the nearby mountain range, where he had already laid ambush, waiting for the arrival of the wind, flowers and raging waves. However, what he didn't know was that this was a killing machine at all, and immediately, countless crossbow arrows would shoot out from both ends of the train. Ignorance. Stupid. Naruto shook his head and sighed. If it hadn't been for the Santa Fu to have become his partner, he wouldn't care about his life or death. Even if he was shot into a hedgehog by countless crossbow arrows in the murder train as in the original book, he would not care. But in the future, he still needs the cooperation of Santa Fu. Click. The carriage walls on both sides of the train suddenly lowered, revealing a large number of crossbow launchers. At this time, the Santa Fu had already put on his armor and led a group of old, weak, sick and disabled, holding swords and sticks from the mountain, and was about to be shot to death. Earth-style Earth Dynamic Core. Earth-style Tulong Gun. Naruto and Shadow Clone gave a low cry, and slapped their palms to the ground. The surrounding ground was shaking like an earthquake, and everyone hurriedly fled. A large number of soil guns emerged from the underground of the train. The entire murder train was immediately overturned to the ground, and the crossbow arrow launcher was also destroyed. This is the Earth-style ninjutsu that Naruto has just learned from Orochimaru's escape scroll. But then, an airship suddenly appeared. A rope trap was shot from the airship, and the Princess Shuihui, who was escaping in a panic, grabbed and pulled back to the airship. Hinata and Neji, who guarded the Princess Yukie, wanted to cut the rope with kunai, but they couldn't do it at all. Obviously, this rope was specially made. The two of them watched Shuihui being robbed, then suddenly turned around and nodded to Naruto. The corners of Naruto's mouth rose up, revealing a malicious smile. On the airship, Feng Hua and Rage looked at his niece triumphantly, and said hypocritically, Xiaoshui, haven't seen you for so many years, you've grown up so much, but you are still as pretty and cute as you were when you were a kid. Shui Wei turned her head and pouted, ignoring him. Seeing this, Feng Hua Rage spread his hands and said, Okay, stop talking nonsense, did you bring the hexagonal crystal? Shui Wei took out the hexagonal crystal from her chest and handed it to Feng Hua Rage with a look of disgust. The wind and raging waves are like a treasure, holding the hexagonal crystal in both hands, laughing excitedly, and the impatient opponent commands. Go, let's go directly to where the treasure is located. Feng Hua and Rage have found the treasure in these years, and also know that the hexagonal crystal is the key to open treasure house. However, what he didn't notice at this time was that the corners of the mouth of Shui, who has lowered his head, rose slightly, and his eyes were full of mockery and joking. Soon, the airship arrived at the treasure hiding place, and Feng Hua and the storm pulled Shuihui together and inserted the hexagonal crystal into the hole in treasure house. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. The door to the imaginary treasure house did not open, and the tall stone walls erected around it gradually lit up. The surrounding snow began to melt and spread to the entire snow country. The river was gurgling and flowing, grass and flowers began to cover the entire country of snow, and it was full of spring, where there was white snow. From then on, the name of the snow country can be changed to Spring Country. Well, is it that the so-called treasures are these geothermal generators? Fenghua Nadao looked at the surrounding changes in disbelief. He killed his brother, seized the righteousness, and searched for Shuihui for so many years, just to get the treasure left by his brother, and then to grow the country of snow. Unexpectedly, really never thought about. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Shuihui next to her looked at the desperate wind and raging waves, suddenly burst into laughter. You, look for death. Fenghua rage reached out into anger and pinched Shuihui's neck. But in the next second, he was dumbfounded again. Shuihui actually knew how to ninjutsu, and quickly avoided, standing 10 meters away. Wow, so beautiful. At this moment, several surprise sounds suddenly came from a distance. Looking at the wind and raging waves, I saw another Yukie, Neji, Hinata, and the film crew approaching from a distance. Boom. Fenghua enraged turned back to look at Yukie in front of him. Only hearing a bang, the other party turned into Naruto's appearance. Transformation technique. Naruto has been playing with him. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Naruto smiled and looked at the dull Fenghua raging wave, and asked again. Bing done Black Dragon Storm Kill. Fenghua was furious, and quickly formed a seal with both hands, only to see a long black dragon roaring towards Naruto. Hey, this ninjutsu is good, it looks pretty cool. Naruto's eyes lit up, and then his hands were sealed, and a long cyan dragon appeared out of thin air, facing the black dragon. With body of wind god, he has completely mastered the form of wind style and nature transformation. It's just that the previous opponent is not strong and can be killed in a few hurricanes, so he has not fully developed the power of this physique. Right now, it is not difficult for him to condense wind style into the form of a growing dragon. Boom. The black dragon's body was mixed with ice escape, and soon there was a tendency to break through the blue dragon. But Naruto's chakra was enough to make the blue dragon suddenly grow bigger, quickly break through the black dragon, and then swallow the unreacted wind and raging waves. Countless wind blades cut his body thousands of times, so that he can't die again. Once the boss dies, the world will be at peace. At this time, the surrounding geothermal generators projected 2 huge projections on the stone walls. It was Shuihui and his father when he was a child. Shuihui looked at it with nostalgia, and she couldn't cry. Naruto looked at Shui's father in the projection, wearing glasses and looking like an elegant scientist, and knew that there are so many black technologies in the snow country, and it must be inseparable from this person. Naruto-kun, why didn't Shui's father directly let him see these so-called treasures when Fenghua and Rage launched a rebellion? Hinata walked up to Naruto and asked Naruto weakly. Hey, maybe Shuihui's father is worried that the wind and raging waves will destroy these geothermal generators. Naruto pulled up Hinata's little hand and explained, then chuckled again, who cares about him, who knows? Following the deaths of Fenghua and his 3 Chunin men, there was no one who could beat him in the entire snow country. Shui was moved by the projection left by his father. Finally made up his mind to take on the responsibilities of the queen of the snow country and develop the snow country. So, Yukie followed her loyal minister Santa Asama, and a group of loyal old, weak, sick and disabled, and smoothly regained the kingdom of snow and regained righteousness. During this period, some sporadic counterattacks were easily resolved by Naruto and the others. Then Naruto came to the most precious scientific research room in Snow Country, and met the scientific research facilities that covered the entire warehouse and hundreds of scientific researchers. These are priceless treasures. Queen Yukie, presumably Santa Fu has already told you about the deal between us. Naruto smiled and asked Yukie next to her. At this time, Shui Wei was dressed in a luxurious palace costume, which looked unusually graceful and luxurious and breathtaking. Naruto's eyes flashed, and he couldn't help squeezing Hinata's little hand. Well, I will promise you. Shui Hui's voice is still so nice. My father studied chakra armor and geothermal generators back then. His intention was to expand the country of snow. He also supported the wind, flowers and raging waves, and planned to establish Schwerin village. It's a pity. At this point, Shui Hui's beautiful eyes darkened. Ha, don't worry, I am a ninja and have no interest in ordinary justice at all. Naruto explained quite meaningfully. Besides, if I really want to get the snow country, you won't stand by my side alive now. Yukie looked at Naruto charmingly after hearing this. She was very curious about this Konoha shinobi who was 3 or 4 years younger than herself. Naruto has ambition and strength, and is very courageous. Well, no more nonsense, my companion will be here soon, let her communicate with you when the time comes. After Naruto finished speaking, he hurriedly pulled Hinata away. He was really afraid that Yukie would eat him. No, to be precise, he was afraid that he couldn't help it. Hinata, would you tell anyone these things? Naruto asked quietly while walking in the garden outside the Snow Queen's castle. I believe that Naruto-kun will not harm his companions in the village, right? Hinata opened the Byakugan eyes of Kazilan, and looked at Naruto happily, his eyes full of trust. Looking at Hinata like this, one of Naruto's heart felt a little soft, and the figure of Yukie in his mind was completely deleted. Yukie wanted to seduce him for another purpose, but Hinata really loves him and trusts him incomparably. This point has been fully proved in the original work for more than 10 years. Aren't you afraid that I will expose you? At this moment, Neji's voice suddenly came from behind. Naruto turned his head when he heard the words and looked at Neji, who was expressionless. He was shocked by only one sentence. I can unlock the caged bird seal. Neji clenched his teeth, and stared at Naruto with his big Byakugan for a while and said, how do I know if what you said is true or false? Why don't you take a gamble and let me have a try? Naruto looked at Neji playfully and continued. Or, do you want to be the caged bird of Hyuga forever? Hinata, who was next to her, lowered her head with a lonely expression. She was kind-hearted and sympathized with what happened to the branch house. But she can do nothing, because her father no longer values her, but gravity trains younger sister Hanabi. When Hanabi becomes the next clan family, she cannot escape the encounter of becoming a branch house. Of course, what she didn't know was that in the original book, she escaped this tragic fate because she married Naruto. Seeing this, Naruto gently hugged Hinata's shoulder and said to him, don't worry, I can really unlock Curse Mark, Caged Bird, and I won't let you become a branch house. Well, thank you Naruto-kun. Hinata nodded softly. After hearing Naruto's words just now, Neji frowned and thought. He thought of his father's tragic death, and thought that he had such a talent, but he still wanted to become a dog of the Hyuga clan. I'm willing to try. Neji clenched his fists and looked at Naruto, then changed his style and asked, what do you want from me? Be loyal to me for 3 years, and you will be free in 3 years. Naruto looked at Neji seriously and said. 3 years later, this world will be trampled under Naruto. Good. Neji nodded without hesitation and agreed. He is only 13 years old, and it takes 3 years to exchange his freedom for the next few decades. Is this business a loss? Haha, don't worry, you will be proud of this decision in the future. Naruto said unceremoniously. System, exchange Curse Mark, Caged Bird. Ding dong, Curse Mark, Caged Bird has already been redeemed, and 500 points will be consumed this time. In the system mall, A-level ninjutsu is 100 points. Curse Mark, Caged Bird and 8-sign seal which conceal the tail beast well, both have 100 points. Only Ghoul Sealed, this sealing technique is S rank and worth 1000 points. With his superb seal technique talent, Naruto quickly figured out this seal technique and obtained a way to unlock it. Neji is dead. This news caused a sensation among many people in Konoha. His team leader Jonin Might Guy, teammates Xiao Li and Tenten, Shikamaru, Inuzuka Tooth, and others, including Hyuga Hiyashi and other Hyuga family members, all came to his funeral. It's a pity that Neji has no bones left. It is said that he was attacked by the remnants of the wind, flowers and raging waves, and fell into the sea together. Hyuga Hiyashi, as the clan family, he is most worried about Neji defecting, but the clan family has long been able to cope with this. Because of the curse mark, Caged Bird on the head of each branch house ninja, the clan can have a vague touch through the special spelling method. Neji's curse mark, Caged Bird, is indeed undetectable. Naruto also stood in the crowd of condolences, holding Hinata's trembling little hand, and constantly comforting her. Hinata is not sad, but afraid because he is not good at lying. The two of them, Yukie and Santafu, are the only people who know the truth. Hinata, cheer up, you don't want to see Neji living in the shadows all the time. Naruto comforted Hinata. Hinata nodded obediently, and gradually stopped the trembling body. The funeral is very simple and fast. After all, Neji, no matter how genius, is nothing more than a chunin, and only a person from the Hyuga branch house. The crowd gradually dispersed, and Neji must be forgotten soon. Take the little Sakura. Apart from practicing medical ninjutsu every day, she misses Sasuke. I don't know how she heard about micro-fragrant worm from Shino, so she started pestering the current teacher Tsunade to find this kind of insect. Micro-fragrance worm is also known as the dream worm. Isn't that kind of bug extinct long ago? Tsunade looked at Shino and Sakura in front of him and asked suspiciously. No, it is because we are worried that they will be extinct, so our Aburame clan has long given up on using them. Shino continued to explain. In other words, they are not extinct, but extremely rare. Shizune next to Tsunade asked confusedly, what the hell is micro-incense bug? The larva of micro-fragrance worm will turn into pupae. At the moment when the pupa emerges into adults, if you let it smell a certain smell, you can find it no matter how tiny or remote it is. Tsunade sighed and said, it is said that their sense of smell is 1,000 times that of Shinobu. Shino nodded, and continued. This year happens to be the time when they lay their eggs and hatch. I still have things that Sasuke didn't take away. As he said, little Sakura took out a piece of clothing that Sasuke had worn before, blushing and said. You can use it to find Sasuke. Oh, hearing this, Tsunade sighed, turned and looked out the window and said. You also know the current situation in the village, even if every genin is extremely precious. Little Sakura's face went dark when he heard this. But, this is the last time. Tsunade suddenly said in a deep voice. Little Sakura, this is your last chance. If you still can't find Sasuke, just give up. After all, Sasuke left by himself. He and Orochimaru are the same kind of people. I didn't issue a wanted for him. It's kind enough. Little Sakura heard this, her eye circles started to turn red, and she nodded in gratitude to Tsunade. Shino, for this search mission, you and your teammates Hinata and Inuzuka must go, and then call Naruto to prevent encountering an enemy. Tsunade finally ordered. When Naruto received this task, he was very reluctant, and he still had to hurry up to practice escape scroll. Then exchange for Shanwa body to embark on an unusual but more powerful path. But he also knows that Tsunade won't let a ninja of his level idle. It's been a long time since Kakashi hasn't seen a figure. Alas, it's all about performing tasks anyway, so it's better to just take this lighter task. Just right, I traveled with Hinata at public expense. Naruto is the captain, and Hinata, Shino, Inuzuka and Sakura are in the same team. According to Shino's opinion, they weren't in a hurry to go to their destination, so they all walked slowly. But Naruto didn't waste such an opportunity. He was not like others, but was doing physical exercises while walking. There are dozens of shadow clone always practicing escape from a distance. Of course, he did not forget to leave a shadow clone to accompany Hinata chatting or something. But when everyone saw Naruto's hard work, they didn't even have a leisurely mood, and they started their own practice. Including Hinata. Since Chunin took the exam, she has been thinking about her own unique ninjutsu, and practiced till late every day. Naruto knows what Hinata cultivates. It is a defensive ninjutsu similar to Revolving Heaven created for himself, Guardian 8 Trigrams 64 Palms. In this way, a group of 5 people finally arrived at the destination 2 days later. This is a big basin, just like the sky formed a huge bowl upside down on the ground. The basin is full of lush trees and plants, and a river flows from one end of the basin into the basin until the other end into the underground river. Before Naruto came here, he sensed the existence of 3 Chunin, who should be the ninjas of the Shangshilyu clan of Iwagakure. This is also a ninja clan that controls insects, but after being defeated in a battle with the Aburame clan many years ago, it declined. Now, the 3 ninjas of the Shangshilyu clan are thinking of rejuvenating their family by finding the tiny incense worms. Unfortunately, they are destined to be unable to do so. After arriving in this basin, not only Naruto, but Shino, Hinata, and Inuzuka felt these 3 idiots. However, they were worried that the battle would disturb the tiny incense worms, so they decided to wait and see the changes. The next step is to look for the tiny incense worm, in this huge and lush basin. I'm good at this. After Naruto saw the photo of micro-fragrant worm, he smiled, and suddenly hundreds of shadow clone appeared around. Seeing Shino and the others slapped their tongues, the ninja of Shangshilyu hidden in the distance was even more shocked. 2 hours later, just as the storm was approaching, Naruto finally caught a tiny incense worm, and only had to wait until tomorrow morning to emerge. At that time, can you let it smell Sasuke's clothes, and then you can find Sasuke? Little Sakura said excitedly, her eyes glowing as she looked at the larva packed in the box, her eyes full of hope. Oh, now, can we kill the 3 little mice? Naruto glanced at Sakura and said to Shino and the others. The 3 Shangshilyu ninjas who were hiding not far away were shocked when they heard the words. They didn't expect that they were hiding so well, but the 3 little ghosts discovered it. What are you doing here? At this time, 3 voices suddenly sounded from behind them. The 3 Shangshilyu ninjas suddenly felt stiff throughout their bodies, and each put a hand on the shoulders of the 3 of them. We just passed by here. One of them stammered, cold sweat shed. This is in the land of fire, you are Konoha's enemies, Iwagakure ninja. The 3 Naruto shadow clones said at the same time. There was a strange feeling. Row, row, click, click, click. After the 3 sounds of shattering throat bones, the bodies of the 3 Shangshilyu ninjas fell limply to the ground. Row your sister, I don't know what you are going to say. The 3 shadow clone clapped their hands and disappeared. Not far away, Inazukaya and several people looked at the bodies of the 3 ninjas in the river with solemn expressions. It's so murderous, Inazukaya said with difficulty. Wong Wu, Akamaru got into Tooth's clothes. Well, he has killed a lot of people and he is very strong. Shino pushed his sunglasses and whispered expressionlessly. Is Naruto already so strong? And Sasuke, at Orochimaru. Little Sakura's eyes were sad, and then she cheered up and thought, I will continue to work hard and follow Master Tsunade's practice. Soon, the larva of the micro-scented worm began to turn into pupae, and then broke out of the pupae and emerged as adults. Little Sakura nervously took out Sasuke's clothes, so that the adult worm that just emerged from the pupae could smell the specific smell on the clothes. Seeing this, Naruto hesitated for a while, whether to stop Sakura from finding Sasuke, and then thought for a while, it's my shit. The worm smelled Sasuke's clothes, then flapped its wings, and flew in a certain direction. Sasuke! Little Sakura yelled uncontrollably, moving his steps as if he could see Sasuke right away. Unexpectedly, Shino next to him buckled the tiny incense worm into a specific incubator. What are you doing? Little Sakura asked Shino loudly. Are you going to find Sasuke now? He's with Orochimaru, this matter must be reported to 5th Hokage. Shino's tone was as calm as ever, but it was beyond doubt. Little Sakura hesitated. He knew that Shino was right. With her, how could he beat Orochimaru and save Sasuke from the Sea of Bitterness? Therefore, she had to follow Naruto and Shino to return to Konoha village in frustration. What, you actually succeeded? In Hokage's office, Tsunade asked incredulously. She agreed to let little Sakura and Shino try it out, but she was actually trying to make little Sakura give up. She didn't have any hope in her own right, but she didn't expect. This can be difficult. At present, in the entire Konoha village, only she and Jiraiya can compete with Orochimaru. But Jiraiya went to investigate Akatsuki's intelligence, and he couldn't be reached for the time being, and he didn't know when he would be back. As the 5th Hokage, she always has to fight against Konoha village. It is impossible to go out easily, otherwise, if the enemy knows about it, Konoha village will be dangerous. Little Sakura, you also know the current situation of the village, and you know the strength of Orochimaru better. Tsunade said in a deep voice. I will contact Jiraiya as soon as possible, and when he comes back, I will ask him to take you to Sasuke. Little Sakura lowered her head in silence for a while, and finally nodded, and said softly, yeah. Then, she left and went on to practice medical ninjutsu. Just when everyone thought that this incident was temporarily over, unexpectedly, half a month later, another earth-shattering event occurred in Konoha village. Of course, this is something later, the next thing is not even thought of by Naruto now, and it has never appeared in the original book. At this time, he returned to Konoha village the next day, but was assigned a task again, which made him irritable. The cause of the incident was that 3 villagers who had escaped from the Wood Sorrel gold mine came to Konoha village to ask for help after all their hardships. It turned out that after the gold mine was occupied by the Black Ho family, the surrounding villagers lived a life that is worse than death. Because the members of the Black Ho clan beat and even killed these poor villagers at will. In addition, the way they tortured and killed these villagers was somewhat pervert, which turned out to be to put people in coffins and bury them alive. The beautiful name is funeral. And at this kind of funeral, the patriarch of the Black Ho family, Black Ho Thunderya, looked like a pervert, grinning and crying bitterly. This made the villagers feel cold and unbearable, and only 3 villagers who successfully escaped came to Konoha village for help. I don't know what Tsunade thought, but he actually took this task and sent it to Naruto. Hey, Master Hokage, why do you have another task? I just returned from the task yesterday, okay. Can't you let me rest? Besides, I want to hurry up and practice. In Hokage's office, Naruto complained to Tsunade dissatisfied. Tsunade frowned and stared at Naruto and said, Black Ho Thunder Tooth used to be one of the 7 ninja swords, and his strength is at least Jonin's level. At present, the only suitable ninja that can be used in the entire Konoha village is you. Oh, Naruto sighed, and then said, this is the last time. After performing this mission, I will always practice for a month. Yes, Tsunade agreed, and then asked, who are you going to take this time? Is it your little girlfriend Hinata? Of course, I want Hinata to experience it, Naruto answered as expected. Tsunade thought about it for a while and suggested. Plus Xiao Li and Tenten, let them experience it. Neji sacrificed, Hinata also owns Byakugan, so they should be able to cooperate well. Yes, it doesn't matter. Naruto nodded and agreed. So, in the afternoon, they set off with the 3 villagers who had escaped. Naruto, Hinata, Xiao Li, and Tenten are all cultivating crazy demons, and no one is willing to relax along the way. If it weren't for the 3 villagers, I'm afraid they would have rushed to the gold mine. This made the 3 villagers who accompanied them admired and sighed. Konoha village is indeed the most powerful shinobu village. At the same time, they also accelerated their pace. By the afternoon of the next day, they finally arrived near the gold mine. Naruto and the others were exhausted after practicing all the way, so they decided to take a rest in a curry house near the gold mine that Xiao Li was familiar with. The owner of this curry house is a gray-haired Sanjiao mother-in-law who once rescued Xiao Li with his grandson Shinzi, so Xiao Li has a lot of affection for this place. However, Shinzi had already taken refuge in the Black Ho family, and Xiao Li vowed to bring Shinzi out and let him correct his evil. Unexpectedly, in the middle of the night, one of the 3 villagers named Rokusuke had an accident. Because he was in a desperate mood to rescue his friend who was buried alive a few days ago, he actually took advantage of the night to run to a gold mine not far away to dig out the friend who was buried alive. Naturally, he was discovered by the Black Ho family and decided to perform the funeral the next day. In the middle of the night, Naruto, who sensed this incident, turned over without paying attention, and went to sleep with the fragrant Hinata in his arms. After all, idiots are always responsible for their stupid actions. Early the next morning, after everyone learned about the idiot, Ryusuke, they decided to go to the gold mine as soon as possible. However, as the captain, Naruto calmly ordered everyone to eat and fill their stomachs before going. Xiao Li had no choice but to sit down. It didn't take long for the 4 full-fed and drunk 4 people to lurk near the gold mine. Naruto saw the house where the Black Ho Leia was at a glance, and rushed over with the 3 of them. As for the 6 helpers who were caught, he ignored them and didn't mean to rescue them at all. Wind-style hurricane. Naruto attacked first. When he flew into the air, with his hands together, a huge hurricane fell from the sky and swept the house where the Black Ho Thunderfang was. Through his companion, Rinmara, the Black Ho Leia had already sensed the 4 Naruto in advance. Therefore, when Naruto launched an attack, he rushed out of the house in time. He raised the thunder tooth knife with both hands and pulled it upward, only to see a lightning bolt formed out of thin air and smashed into the air Naruto. Whoosh! Naruto's body dissipated like the wind in place, avoiding the attack of thunder and lightning. And in the next second, he appeared behind the Black Ho Thunderya, urging dozens of wind blades to slash towards the Black Ho Thunderya. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.